Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between. Here we are, the Nightcaps and Nostalgia, doing something a little different. And I'll be honest with you, I've said that a lot on this channel, but I think, to be honest with you, this is probably the most little different we've done. Today, we're both talking and drinking about a very similar thing. We're talking about the Resident Evil movie that came out back in 2002.
The live action.
The live-action Resident Evil film that came out in 2002, and we're drinking a drink called the Red Queen.
The Red Queen Bramble. It is Hennessy, grenadine, club soda, strawberries, and triple sec.
And the strawberries.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Dude, I think I put a little more club soda in yours. Mine's a little dry.
Mine's a little dry, but like not so dry.
Okay.
I'm like the flavor profile is there.
I think I put less ice in it, but you know that's not what we're here to talk about.
But yeah, no. So today, ladies, gentlemen, and all those who are in between, we're talking about a movie. And I'll be honest with you, this is something we haven't really tackled on this channel before, but I am eager as a beaver to really talk about it and get into it. So, Resident Evil. Let me ask you this, Nathan: have you had what's your previous history with Resident Evil? Was this a film?
The franchise as a whole or the movie?
This one film. We're only talking about the first film at this point, right? What was your history with it? Did you watch it when it came out? Did you watch it a couple years later?
I watched it as soon as it came out.
As soon as it came out.
Hold on, I got a strawberry seed in my teeth.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah.
Not the kind of seed I want in my teeth, I'll tell you what, okay? I have...
Let's see how much more of this Hennessy you keep buying me. We'll talk later. No, I had seen the movie when it came out as a huge fan of the Resident Evil video games.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the time being hugely disappointed by the film because how much of a radical departure it was narratively from the first game.
See, that's very interesting to me because so I had played some of the Resident Evil games before I saw the film. But even then, when I saw the film, I wouldn't say necessarily I enjoyed it, but it definitely stuck in my brain. Like, rewatching this film and going back and watching it again, like, I was surprised by how many quotes were just, like,
oh, and we'll get to some of them.
Oh, that's bound to happen, I'll be honest with you. Well, so, why don't we go ahead and crack on into it, I'll be honest with you. Like, let's start talking about Resident Evil. So,
sure. It opens up kind of weird, like, in the office.
So there's several things here I want to point out before we get to the office, right? So, the first thing is the fact that we have the text intro, right? That introduces us to the idea of the Umbrella Corporation. Now, one of the things you may or may not have noticed that I noticed immediately was the fact that they had the Umbrella logo as a 3D image kind of like moving around.
Well, it was 2002. We have to have the CG graphics in there at some point.
Well, not just that, but I think this was the DVD menu CG graphics.
Now, it is worth noting, I watched it on VHS on a CRT TV, where Justin watched it on, you said Netflix?
I watched it on Netflix, on a 4K television.
So I did not have a menu with which to look at.
Oh, and I didn't either.
Sure.
But when I went into that menu screen, when I saw the Umbrella logo, I'm making gestures for your benefit, mind you, of the Umbrella logo, like, flipping around and, like, moving up and down the screen. I was like, oh, this is, like, them thinking about the DVD menu. Now, mind you, I didn't watch it through the DVD, but I have a guess that if we did watch it through the DVD menu, that we would see it have those kind of same CGI kind of
we'll do research and add visuals in post. No, I'm not.
And this leads me to the next thing I want to talk about, is the fact that what the fuck is the Umbrella Corporation?
It is, so I have history with the video game series. I've played all of the main line where you have not.
I've played a solid chunk of the main line, and mind you, not always the original version or like the most up-to-date version. Yeah. So the continuity is a little missing for me. And it is very convoluted, especially later in the series. They add more and more on.
Now, this movie series is obviously not following the video game canon at all.
Completely independent.
But what Umbrella Pharmaceuticals is like I said, a pharmaceutical company who is a pharmaceutical company as the face, or the public face, where they are developing bioweapons in secret.
So in the intro, they say that Umbrella leads in technology, medical something, and then healthcare.
Yes.
So medicine. So yeah.
Right.
So it's technology, medicine, and healthcare. Right. Is the three things they lead in. They even talk about how 8 out of 10 households in America have an umbrella product somewhere in their home, and then they say unknown to the public, they also deal in military technology,
The bioweapons,
genetic experimentation, and viral weaponry. And the only thing I'm seeing here as a now 2023 viewer watching this literally...
God, this is 20 years later.
21 years later, right?
Wow.
Watching this film is like, why would they hide it? There's no reason to. No one cares. No one literally cares. You could literally have your whole company be about fucking sperm cell research. And people would be like, are you hurting the babies? That was the only question they would have for you. Literally. It's so funny to me, the idea that, the corporations need to hide behind innocent appearances to do the more nefarious things, where I don't feel like it's really a necessity. But maybe I'm being a little too bigoted in that response.
Well, let's get to The Office. We've already spent 8 minutes not talking about the movie, but talking about the movie.
Well, yes.
So the first thing I noticed was let me take a step back. We have been drinking and recording all day, so we might be a little less than coherent in our statements. But
it seemed like you had a point to make.
I did have a point to make.
Please.
So the movie opens up in an office setting.
Yes.
And people walking back and forth in front of a window with a skyline, right? Mm-hmm. Me having already seen the movie going in for its review, I knew it was fake. But it was just an incredibly fake skyline.
Yeah.
It just a flat texture, barely any depth. But where do your notes leave off?
Well, so this is one of the points that...
Because I don't want to get too far ahead.
This is one of the points I really want to stress here, because later on in the film we find out the skyline's fake, right? We find out that the Hive...
The Hive being the name of the base.
The Hive, which is the office setting we're essentially in at this point, is underground. So when you see that at first, the first thing in my mind, at least, is hey, this is a low-budget film. This is a film that didn't have a budget. Whatever. I'll get over it. It's fine. But then, as you go through that scene, as you go through the movie later, I'll be honest with you, that opening scene sets up so much.
Yes.
So much that is so important. And that opening scene, I'll be honest with you, makes the film in several ways. I'll be honest with you.
And we follow a very specific female character throughout that office setting that we later find out played a bigger role with Mila Jovovich's character.
Well, hold up there. I feel like you're slightly misremembering.
No. Because the blonde female that we follow, who
we don't follow her
lightly. What I'm saying is, in one of the flashbacks that Mila Jovovich has, her contact in Umbrella in the Hive was that female blonde from the opening setting.
You want to talk about that now?
Well, I wanted to bring up, hey, we're following not exclusively this one character, but one character that is highlighted is that blonde.
There's 3 characters.
Yes.
That I'd say are highlighted in the opening scene.
I agree.
And they all come into play.
Yes.
We have...
the blonde.
We have the blonde in the office setting. We have another female in the labs. And then we have a duo that go in the elevator.
Yeah. So, my next note, I have 2 notes. 1, fire drill my ass, ! Because remember, they say, hey, a fire drill's going off, and they start gassing the building. Or what we assume to be the building at that point.
Yeah.
And then my next note, you could tell I was drinking during this. Elevator done her dirty like a McFlurry.
So let me hit you with some shit right
Okay.
quick. Okay, so right before we get in the office setting, we have the setup for the whole film.
Mm-hmm.
We have the slow zoom. I'm not sure if you remember this, but we have a out of boundary zoom where the border of the entire viewing experience is black, and we see a picture in the distance, and we slowly zoom in on this picture, and we realize it's a motion picture, right? It's the movie, and we're zooming in on, and it's somebody loading up the T-virus and the antivirus.
The green and the blue coils.
And then we see the inciting incident, which is interesting. And I'll be honest with you, sure, like, we see the insanity incident, okay, whatever. Like, I would almost prefer if they hadn't showed that particular part, where, like, we see the bad guy throw the fucking vial. Yeah. Because I think leaving it up into ambiguity, like, it might have been an accident, would play better later.
But then reveal it later to be intentional.
Right, but we'll get to that later. So
now, don't feel bad about spoilers, because I assume people watching this or listening to this will have also seen the movie or don't care to have it spoiled.
One can only hope. Yeah. But yeah, no. So we open up in the office setting, and the office setting is perfect because there's so much here that is set up that is brilliant. So first we have the lab setting.
Yes.
Which the lab ends up being filled up with water, and we see them trying to, like, hack out of the window with the axe and seeing it make little pinholes, which is brilliant because we literally see water draining very slowly from those pinholes later on, and that lab comes up like 4 more times in this film, and I'll bring that up later as it comes up.
Yeah, they do weird black and white flashbacks.
And then we have what we think's our protagonist for a second, who has the coffee spilled on him by the antagonist bumping into him as he leaves with the virus. Or as they leave the virus, I guess. And, him kind of, like, looking at the girl in the elevator, and she gets fucking decapitated by the elevator falling.
But they do a fake out, though. Like, the elevator falls, and you're like, oh, she's gonna be fine, and the elevator goes back up and takes her head off.
Brilliant fake out, by the way.
Yeah.
And,
no, I appreciated that.
Then last we have the office scene. Now, one of the things you may...
Now, the fire drill, like I said, they started gassing people when the virus got exposed into the ventilation system, and that's what caused them to just kill everyone in that fucking office.
Oh, you were talking about, we should talk about spoilers. Let's talk about spoilers, right? So the Red Queen has detected the T-virus.
Red Queen being the AI that controls the hive.
Has escaped. Now, here's something that's very interesting. If you look during the opening office scenes, some of the perspectives are from the Red Queen through the camera system.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
And one of the things I noticed, now mind you, having seen the film before, this, certainly assisted me in this endeavor, but one of the things I noticed was that if you look at her screen, it's always giving you valuable information. Either she's looking
like text on the side?
Yeah, she's looking at, like, she'll either ID the person for you, or ID what they're carrying, or even ID what the air in a given room has. And literally, in that scene, we see T-virus listed as one of the things in the air, and then oxygen, and then nitrogen, and yada, yada, yada. Well, then, you were talking about how we start seeing gas being let in.
Yeah, because the Red Queen basically goes into safe mode and kill... Well, I say safe mode, but basically what she's doing is preventing the outbreak from escaping the hive. She locks the hive down and kills everyone in there.
I mean, one can make an argument that she's literally making a Asimov argument, right? Where it's like, hey, I can help humanity by killing these people, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very Asimovian, if that's a term, thing to go into.
The Red Queen's actual, like, physical representation, not physical, but, like, the 3D model that she creates is... Spoiler, I think for the next movie, it's... I want to say William Birkin's daughter, but I might be getting the name mixed up. We'll clarify that in episode 2.
Sherry Birkin, I remember, is in Apocalypse, but let's not get into the second
movie. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We're not even through the first movie yet. We're not even through the opening scene of the first movie.
And we're 15 minutes in. No one's going to listen to this, and I love it.
Yeah. So in the opening scene, we have the woman in the office, the blonde one you pointed out.
Yeah. Who is Mila Jovovich's contact.
Right, which we know, and she shouts out Halion, Halon, and I had no idea what the fuck that meant.
I didn't even take a note of that. I don't remember it.
And it turns out that's the gas they use for fire suppression. You gotta think, with a fire drill, you get everyone out, then you lock everything down, and then you pump in gas to suppress the fire, and.
Because it, I think, takes the oxygen out of the room, doesn't it?
Right, and it suppresses the fire, literally. Yeah. And what the Red Queen did was she basically bypassed that, locked the doors first, and then pumped in the Halion gas.
Because the T-virus got into the air, and everyone was already infected.
Right, and she's just trying to murder everyone that's down there. Now, mind you, during that same scene, if you're a very eagle-eyed viewer like I am, or have seen the film before, you'll notice that this person's name is Lisa Addison.
The blonde.
The blonde.
Okay.
Her name is Lisa Addison.
I didn't notice that, so I'm taking your word here.
It's literally on the screen. Like sure. I know you've gotten some clips from the movie. Feel free to pull up any clips that you want.
I'll do what I can. I'm gonna have to figure out how to navigate copyright bullshit. We'll try.
But yeah, no, literally in that opening graphic.
So you're gonna hear some crushed ice as I pull the strawberry out of my drink to eat it.
Oh yeah.
We will take frequent pauses to refill our beverages as we're talking.
Well, to be fair, we can just pause it and then start it back up for them. So, but yeah, no. So that's the opening scene for me. Those are the things I took away, right? Lisa Addison is named. A couple other ones are named as well, but obviously they're much less important.
Like, we're basically getting a ton of information that's important, but we don't know it's important yet.
And it's important for so many reasons, because that opening scene sets up the dog kennels.
Yes.
It sets up the elevator.
Oh, the fucking dogs, man. We'll get there.
So it sets up the dog kennels. It sets up the elevators being inoperable. It sets up the fact that the lab is flooded.
Yes.
And it sets up the fact that Lisa Addison died in, like, the main workers area, if you will. Like, a lot of things are set up in that fucking 5, 10, 15, 20-minute period, or whatever the fuck it was.
Okay.
And it's almost impressive to me, because a lot of that shit comes back later. And I'll be honest with you, one other note I had for the intro.
Okay.
The music, very Saw-like. I'm not sure if you noticed that.
It's very... It wouldn't be a... When did Saw come out? That's Halloween.
Is that Halloween?
That sounded like John Carpenter to me.
That's fair. But, I might have done Halloween just there, but definitely horror-themed.
Saw 2004, 2 years after this.
Yeah.
So about the same time period.
But yeah, no, I thought that was very interesting. But then we have, of course, the cold open into Mila Jovovich.
Okay, yes. So, my notes don't make any goddamn sense half the time, but I'll have you fill in.
I have so many notes. So, like, come in where you want, and I'll fuck
So, I got goddamn MPS super scary. Don't know what that means.
The gun?
Oh, no, that's a 5. You're right.
Yeah, because she opens up the third drawer.
Yeah,
in her
and it's
dresser.
fucking a gun cabinet. So, like, she's walking through this house.
No, mind you, MPS might be correct. It might have been suppressed, but it was definitely, I think it was MPK, to be honest with you, because it was a short model with no grip options, but not to get lost in the weeds.
Doesn't matter. I remember that being super scary and her being like, oh, what's that? Like, being taken aback as she opens this.
The things that you're always...
Well, the point I'm trying to make here with these notes is she wakes up on the floor of the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't know what's going on. She's walking through the house like, where the fuck am I? Who am I? What is all this shit? Finds these guns in a dresser drawer.
Yeah.
And then my next note, ACAB surveillance house? Don't know what that means, but I know the surveillance house where, like, she's constantly being watched and surveilled. Like, you see her through cameras.
Oh my god.
You see camera screens.
I'd like, maybe I should leave the discussion on this.
Nope, too late.
My god. Okay, so, can I go to my notes, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no. I don't start taking more detailed ones until we get into the hive.
So, one of the things I noticed that I thought was interesting, that I thought would come at some point that didn't, is the fact that she makes a really big deal about her shoulder scar in the mirror in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, she traces it with her finger. And I didn't know if that was a scar that Mila Jovovich actually has, or if that was added. I thought it was added, but now I'm starting to think like it might actually be a scar that she has. I don't know. They kind of played off a little bit for the action. Fair enough.
So I do know some story bits of where the series goes, because I've seen the first 3. So like I don't want to get too far into shit.
Let's not worry about that too much.
Yeah.
But I did find the dress on the bed, to me,
the red one. The one she's wearing on the cover.
The whole film. She wears that red dress the whole film. I'll be honest with you. That seemed like a game reference to me, because there's so many characters in the games that end up wearing just the oddest attire for what they're doing.
As far as red dress, the only character that's really iconic for that in the series is Ada.
Well, yeah, not the red dress specifically, but like, for example, fucking Resident Evil 3, fucking Jill's walking around wearing a fucking sweater tied around her waist and booty shorts.
That's 2.
Or 2, fine, whatever.
It's the blue tube top with the white, Yeah,
you get what I'm saying, right? Yeah. The idea of being caught in a dramatic or apocalyptic even situation in just very what we consider contemporary clothing, I think was the theme they were going for there. And I think they kind of, like, I'd almost say they nailed it, because they definitely have gotten me with the mental image of Mila Jovovich wearing that red dress.
It's also like early 2000s, like,
and
hey, look at the hot girl we have on the cover. Come see our shit, right?
Well, sure.
It's a little bit of that.
I mean, to be fair, like, she's still wearing like shorties under that, and then like there's even a panty shot later in the film.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that when we get to that. But one of the things I do notice is the fact that they do give her a lot of unspoken development. Like, for example, she walks over to the note. I'm not sure if you remember the note, but the note says, oh fuck, what did it say? Like, today all your dreams will come true.
Yeah, something like that.
I have it written down. My bad. Doesn't matter. But yeah, no, yeah, all your dreams come true today, or whatever the fuck it is. And she compares her handwriting to it to see if she's the one who wrote it, and she's not the one who wrote it. And I was like, okay, that's really smart. Like, if I saw a note and I was missing memory, that might not occur to me immediately to, like, write down my own version of that to see if I was the one who wrote it. And then we start getting some weird shit. Because,
yeah, like the dude that comes running down the hallway, fucking the cops fucking just raid through the windows and shit.
Not cops.
A militant force raids the house.
But so right before that, there's this really interesting scene where she's walking around the mansion kind of vaguely, and she goes to an outside door, and she looks out the door, and there's a walkway out there that has somehow lit fire braziers hanging from the ceiling, but the whole walkway's covered in leaves. Like, who the fuck is lighting those, but not blowing off the fucking leaves? That was baffling to me. But at the same time,
I don't even know what you're talking about, so that had to have just bothered you in a weird way.
You know what? Hey, pull up in the clips. Jamie, pull up in clips.
Oh, God, I am Jamie. Shit, that makes you Joe Rogan.
I won't call you engineer. Or no, Engie, pull up the clips. All right, Engie. All right. So, I am Joe Rogan. But yeah, no, it is funny to me. Like, they do a good job of setting the unease, right? Because we have the cold intro that we have no idea what the fuck's going on there, into Mila Jovovich waking up and being like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, questions.
Right, and same thing for the viewer. Like, we don't know what's happening, who this person is at this point.
Right, and then we, of course, have the awesome fucking, what we know to be Umbrella fucking Special Forces, but...
Yeah, my next quote is, "What are you doing? I'm a cop."
Yeah, they arrested Matt. So
who we don't...
So essentially, Matt grabs her from behind and is like, hey, what's going on? And the fucking Special Forces units from Umbrella come in, and they're awesome as fuck. I'll be honest with you. The whole sequence, I have very few complaints. It was a pretty cool sequence.
You know what it reminded me of in the moment?
What's that?
That fucking "we got him" meme.
Oh, 100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like way too much, but like it seems appropriate that it's too much, considering the fact that this is an Umbrella team on Umbrella like company property.
Right.
Like, he even goes up to her and is like, report, soldier, report. And she's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And one of the guys has to be like, yeah, she might have some memory loss. For some reason, that's a side effect from our knockout gas.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, my next couple notes is like nerve gas, fake marriage, weird flashbacks.
Yeah, well, mind you, we don't find out the marriage is fake until later, but yeah, no.
It would have been, like, immediately afterwards. I took these notes as the movie was going. So, like, you have those weird black and white flashbacks that don't make any sense.
No, we don't find out the marriage is fake for another, like, 20 or 30 minutes. I know because it's on my next page.
Sure enough. I wrote it down. But maybe I'm just misremembering. Before,
so they're in the mansion, and they take the train down, and then before they do the full insertion after the train ride is when they explain to them, like, hey, you were a part of our unit, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, they do an exposition dump.
Yeah, but one of the things I find funny during this scene is the fact that you have Matt Addison, and he's like, I'm a cop! And they're like, hey man, your credentials aren't through. And it's like, well, I just transferred. And it's like, me having not only watched the film before, but also I'm watching it in much greater detail than I usually would for a review. I noticed like, oh wait, Lisa Addison.
You're watching it with a more critical eye,
right? Lisa Addison was identified by the camera.
Yeah.
Matt Addison.
See, I never put that together.
I wonder if there's a coincidence there. There probably is.
And then our first quote that was memorable enough for me to write down.
Blow me.
Yes! Michelle Rodriguez, blow me. Right there.
So, I want you to realize, I didn't know...
Dude, Michelle Rodriguez, I think, was 23 in this film.
I didn't know what her character's name was for a little while. It does come a little later.
I still don't.
I know. Well, it's Rain, in case you're curious.
Yeah, dude, like, I know, like, 2 names of people from this film. The characters are...
I know the names of most of the characters, not all of them. Because I'll be honest with you. So I'll bring this up later. But but yeah. So I started abbreviating Michelle Rodriguez in my notes as Mitch Rod, which was just funny to me. But I literally wrote, "Woman says blow me." So cool. So I thought that would be funny to write down, and it was. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that predates the weird flashbacks, and then they, like I said, the exposition dump where it's like we figure out nerve gas flooded.
Yeah,
I think it's during this exposition dump we learn that the house or the mansion that we're in is the front for the hive below.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
okay.
yet. No, we're not there.
Because I've got Red Queen written down.
Oh wow, you skipped a lot of shit to get to that point. So
yeah, like my notes, I have a gap. Where it's raid on the house, blow me.
You went from intro to like...
There's like a 10-minute span I didn't fucking write anything down.
It's like a 30-minute span, dude. But we said we were gonna look at the budget at some point. I'm not sure if we ever did.
The budget for the movie?
I did make a note here saying like, hey, I was kind of impressed by the set here. Like, if this is a low budget film, they did a great job. If this is a high budget film, they could have done better.
Yeah, like, this is before the movie series went off the fucking rails.
Right, like who knows?
It was like a proof of concept.
Who knows what this was, right? Because a lot of video game movies have gone bad before this point.
Yeah.
Like, Mario Brothers happened, like...
Ooh, that was the 80s.
Yeah, like 10 years before this point.
Budget, $32 million is what I'm finding.
They had a decent budget then. Okay, so that makes sense for what they had going on there. They matched the timer going in because the blast doors are going to close.
Yeah.
And then we have Michelle Rodriguez go underneath the train to hook up the electricity.
Yep.
And we see the grate has been borrowed through. Great establishment of tension. Now, unfortunately, this film has a really bad habit of bad jump scares.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Because I've got one...
They establish tension so well,
yeah.
And then they shit all over it with crappy jump scares.
So, one, I have a note, Water Woman eyes open.
We're going to get that.
We're going to get there.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
Because basically my notes go, Red Queen, they explain exposition dump,
oh my God.
what that is.
Bro, I got like 4 pages before we get there, okay? So...
Hold on. Have we, according to where you are in your notes, have we met Alice's fake husband at this point?
So we're about to get there.
Okay, because I have a note here.
Yeah. So she goes below. It's either like right before or right after this, but she goes below to fix the electricity. And then when she fixes it, she sees the burrowed out like little fence underneath the train.
Yeah.
And then JD comes down. It's like, "Huh, jumpy are we?" When she startles and she scares him back by putting the rail on the line. And she goes up top and tries the door. She can't get the door. And then JD's like, "Oh, let me get that for you, toots. All right, I know you feminines can't handle that kind of workload." And he opens the door, and fucking, that's when. And I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna spoil it for you, because this guy's name is Spence. That's when Spence. You don't find that out till the last fucking 30 minutes of the film. That's when Spence falls out, and there's the fake husband that Mila Jovovich remembers when he falls into the ground.
Because my note is, fake Hugh Jackman is shady.
Spence!
But, like, he just looks like a best value Hugh Jackman.
I'll be honest, we're not ruining anything here. Spence is the villain. Is one of the antagonists.
Well, he's the guy that released the virus in the office scene.
Yes.
Which we don't find out till, like, the end.
And we don't find out the fact that the antidote and the T-virus are on the train right there. Until later.
Speaking of Saul, the fucking solution
is
right there the whole
time.
Yeah. Or was, but yeah.
But yeah, so I'll be honest with you, I wrote him in like 75% of my notes as Guy because I didn't know his name, and they reveal his name at the very end as Spence, and I was like, oh, of course it is. Of course it's Spence. So they get on the train, they're going down, and while they're on the train, we have that scene, and this is so fucking stupid. Like, I get it. It almost makes sense, but it doesn't quite. Where Mila Djokovic remembers Spence and remembers her marriage.
Right.
And she takes off her wedding ring. And she looks on the inside of her wedding ring. And do you remember what it says?
I don't.
Property of the Umbrella Corporation.
Oh, okay.
On the inside of her ring. And that's the stupidest fucking thing I ever thought. Like, can you imagine if she ever got arrested? Or like imagine like she got interrogated by like the police for a second, right? And they like repossessed her belongings. Like, hey, why does your wedding ring have property of the Umbrella Corporation on the inside of it? Oh well, you know.
I think within this universe, Umbrella has the cops bought. Like, I don't think we need to worry about that.
But why label the ring? Ugh. Is that for her benefit? I just don't think it makes a lot of sense, I'll be honest with you.
I don't feel like getting up to pour another drink, so I'm going to reach into the refrigerator, grab the cold brew.
That's fair. So, they go all the way down the line, they get to the entrance to the hive, and that's when we have exposition jump. That's when That's when we find out that their covers are fake, they're both trained operatives.
They're just put there as a cover in the mansion.
Now, here's one of the things I'm baffled by, right?
Okay.
They always call it the mansion. The mansion.
It's a reference to the first game taking place in the mansion, but it's not supposed to be the same mansion.
The first game, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's the Spencer Mansion, right?
Yes.
They say Spencer Mansion several times. And they never specify
Wait, let me clarify that. I've been drinking. I don't want to sound stupid.
That's fine. They never specify Spencer Mansion in the movie, which is fine. Like, you don't have to have the same continuity. But I thought it was funny they kind of kept the idea of, like, oh, the mansion is one of the entry
No, you're
points.
right, Spencer.
Yeah. Well, if I remember correctly, it's Spencer and Ashford were the two guys who founded Umbrella Corporation. But we'll get to that if we get to that. But yeah, no, they call it the mansion over and over again, and they never really comment on anything on the mansion past that point.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a surface level, like, you know, hey.
Reference, yeah.
Yeah. And then that's when we have them entering the hive. And that's when we see a lot of information fly before our eyes really quickly. Because we see things for a split second from the Red Queen's perspective of the cameras.
Right.
She identifies JD. She identifies Rain.
Which one is JD?
JD's the smart...
Is that the leader?
No, that's the smart talking guy.
Oh,
who's, I want to say Hispanic, but maybe not.
Oh, no, I have a quote from him later. Okay, I know who you're talking about.
Now, mind you, the leader, he is named. What do you think his name is? Just give me something random.
Carl.
His name is One.
Okay.
Yeah, literally, if you go back and...
He's
and
just a grown-up member of the kids next door.
Feel free to go back in the footage if you want to, but literally, if you pause on that screen, the only two things that Red Queen knows about him is that his name is One with a capital O, and he's squad leader. And nothing else. Now, mind you, a lot of the squad, she actually doesn't know a lot about. And I'll be honest with you, this kind of actually goes into a point I was going to bring up later, but I'll bring up now. The naming conventions on these guys is really, really weird.
The squad?
The squad.
Okay.
So, you have JD, who's the vaguely Hispanic guy, who's like the fun, kind of like...
Yeah.
You have Rain.
He's the guy on the computer during the laser scene, right?
No.
Oh, then I don't know who you're talking about.
That's Kaplan.
Okay, Kaplan's who I was thinking.
Kaplan is the guy who only came in with a fucking revolver for some reason. I'll talk about it later when it comes up.
We'll get there.
But Kaplan's the computer guy. JD is the other half of Rain. Like, if you remember, later on, they leave Matt, because they have Matt handcuffed at this point, because they don't trust him. They leave him with JD and Rain. You don't,
I gotta look up who JD is. Like, I'm having a weird blind spot.
The fact that you're not remembering his guy is...
I'm gonna look at the picture of this guy and be like, oh.
Yeah, he's like the sassy back half of fucking Rain, or Michelle Rodriguez in this. But anyway.
Oh, shit, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's JD. So, you have JD, you have Rain, you have One, you have Kaplan.
Okay.
Those are 4 guys we have identified. There's also, and I kid you not, this is the only name, and even the name on their fucking name tag on their breast.
Okay.
Medic. It's one of the female characters. Later on, she's the first one who dies in the laser hallway. Has her fucking head decapitated off.
Oh yeah, she's real sassy.
Yeah. And now mind you, the other 2 males might be identified by like one of them talking to them.
No.
But I didn't see them like written down on screen or anything at any point. So there's 2 other males, never identified. They both die in the laser hallway, so no reason to worry about them.
Yeah, you got to have some bodies stack up. Because at this point, I think we're like, what, 20-ish minutes into the film?
Yeah, we're about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have a couple notes here. I'm going to skip a lot of these.
Speaking of your jump scare, because at this point, Water Woman eyes open. Like, they walk by the flooded rooms.
Bro, we're not even there yet.
What am I missing?
Let's see. Okay, you only
you're
only half page off for me.
Yeah,
so let's say a couple notes before we get there. Matt.
Yes.
Addison is the one who points out the fact that the views are fake.
And so like I was saying,
and he said he's the one to make a big emphasis on this. He's the one who points out, it's like, oh, working with a view makes it easier. Like he has experience.
Yeah.
That's an allusion to later on when we find out the fact that he's here for an entirely different reason. Let's see.
So hold on, side question, because you clearly were more attentive than I was. This is a fully staffed operation underground.
500 staff.
Covered over with a mansion lived in by 2 people as a cover.
Not covered by the mansion. The actual,
yes, okay, you're right.
The actual facility is under Raccoon City.
The entrances, yes.
Well, one of the entrances. If you actually watch the diagram they show, there's 2 entrances. One leads straight up into Raccoon City.
Okay.
And the other one's the train system leads to the mansion.
We'll deal with that next film.
Just put it out there.
We'll deal with that next film. But the question I was going to ask, was there like a barracks in there for these people? 'Cause, like, or would they have gone into Raccoon City, bust down?
No. They say very specifically at a scene just earlier than that, and you can pull up the clip if you want, that they both live and work underground.
Okay.
So Umbrella brought them in and literally smuggled them under the city to work, and then they get to leave at some point. You know?
Yeah, I was going to say, because at some point, the blonde, we find out in the flashback, is talking to Mila Jovovich as her contact underground.
Yes. So
they have access to leave or she snuck out at some point. I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Think about like military leave, for example, right? Like at some points you're allowed to leave, where you're at. That's a thing they allow.
Okay.
I imagine like this is one of those things where like, hey, this is such a fantastic job opportunity that a lot of people probably wouldn't pass it up based on the pay. And it's like, hey, you work here for, work underground or work at our establishment for the 6 or 9 months, and then have this much amount of time free after we pay you this much, yada yada yada, right? They can make the incentives there. It's not that hard. But they make the stairs joke here, which I thought was funny, because they look down the elevator shafts and see all the elevators have fucking been dropped at the bottom, and then JD looks down over at one, who's the black guy, and he's like, "Guess we're taking the stairs." I thought that was funny. We get introduced to the idea of the Red Queen. And then fucking Spence. God, this is a whole interaction.
No, this is where the fake Hugh Jackman shady quote comes in. You're right, because my notes, Red Queen introduced, fake Hugh Jackman looks shady, then Water Woman eyes open. I forget what he did that made him or he was like asking weird questions.
Well, it's funny you thought he was shady, because I don't think he had anything that was too crazy. Essentially, he offers Mila Jovovich his leather jacket, which, mind you, is not his leather jacket because it fits her perfectly.
Right.
But whatever. And then they see the body float up, and he's like, "What are we doing down here? We should leave."
Yeah, they walk past the flooded rooms that you were talking about, and you see bodies floating in them.
And then one of the guys who I don't have a name for on the Umbrella Spec Ops team looks at both of them and does the most bullshit nod I've ever seen. Well, he's walking by with an MP5 and he goes,
yeah,
and then walks by, and then they both Spence and Mila Jovovich, or Alice, I guess is what they're called. I don't think she's ever called Alice in this film, is she? I don't think I saw Alice one time.
I think they reference Project Alice in that final sequence.
I don't think they do.
I might be misremembering.
I think you're misremembering because they reference Project Nemesis, but we'll get to that when
we will get to that.
But
now that being said, I don't think we've mentioned what their mission is, or have they told us yet what the mission is?
They have. So we've had a couple of debriefings at this point.
Okay.
When we get to the point where we're at the labs. And essentially they're like, hey, you know, the Red Queen went homicidal. That's why we both have a note for the Red Queen AI and our thing. And we're here to shut her down, basically. That's all we know at this point.
They're basically like restarting the system or something like that.
Yeah. They're forcing her out because she murdered everyone. We don't know why the AI went hostile. And they think the AI is the problem, obviously, at this point.
Right.
But then we have the scene with, I'll call her Alice from this point on. Alice and Spence, where Spence gives Alice her jacket. The military guy nods at them and they walk by, as he walks by. And they both have like a secret nod where they're mocking him, basically. Which I thought was kind of funny. And then we have the stupid zombie jump scare. Which is
this the Water Woman Eyes Open that I've talked about like 8 times?
Which is dumb jump scare number 2. I don't know why movies think jump scares are good, but they're just not.
It was 2002. It was a different time. But correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this Water Woman the blonde? Because didn't she die right in front of the glass doors?
No. Did you actually watch the same film I watched?
Maybe not. You might have a different cut than I do.
Jesus Christ. It's not a different cut. Anyway.
Nah.
So, but yeah, that's a different woman. I think she is blonde, but it's a different woman, different actress, than Lisa. But anyway, so this is where I make my note where Kaplan, the tech guy who's always on the computer and has like a PDA on his wrist.
Oh, the keep it tight guy?
He has like a fucking 38 special. That's the only thing he has. Like, they go into what they think is Dining Hall B, right?
Yeah.
Remember, because that's like their bypass, and they find out Dining Hall B is actually like where they feed the experiments, right? Yeah. They're locked in cages. And he goes in with a shiny ass fucking 38 special. And I'm like, bro, like, you can bring more than one gun. You can just holster that. You can bring another gun. Like, there's no reason not to.
I'm sitting here trying to think of reasons that a special operations team, like, the only thing I can think of is like to keep brass from shooting out, but everybody else has fucking MP5s.
Well, to be fair, they do have individualized guns. Like some of them have, like there's one guy who has G36. There's one guy who has the MP5K, or I say guy, Rain. You know, Michelle Rodriguez has the MP5K, but she also has like a double mag. You know, like there's definitely some very mercenary things happening here. And I'll be honest with you, one of the things you might not have noticed, I noticed that some of the characters had names on the front of them, and some didn't. Like I said, Medic just said Medic on the front of it, and she's only ever called Medic, which I thought was funny. But on their left arm, you know what they all had?
What's up?
Sanitation.
That's funny. That's weirdly dark.
That made me laugh. Where I was like, "Oh, these guys are so off the record that they're hired as black op agents by a private company and given the title of sanitation disposal." Like, that's hysterical to me. But yeah, no, we have the whole scene in Dining Hall B, which I say with huge quotation marks being made by hands, and then we have that great scene. And another dumb jump scare. For those keeping track, this is the third dumb jump scare in this film, where Alice, I was going to say Alice from now on, where Alice is looking into one of the cages, one of the confines for the bioweapons, and she's looking at it, and we see some vague hints of body horror, and then all of a sudden, the black leader, he's like, I said keep it tight.
Yeah, no.
Like he scares her and he's like, I said keep it tight.
No, I've keep it tight in air quotes.
I thought it was really funny. But yeah, no, we and that's when we get to the hallway right after that. And I'll be honest with you, quintessential scene, I think so. The hallway lasers.
Yes, no, I have lasers underscored 3 times and like double quotes.
Yeah, so the way they build the scene is great, right? Because what you have is Kaplan, they have 38 special, hacking through the doors, and then you have one by himself going all the way up to the door and putting the thing on the lock to hack the lock, and then that door opening. So you think, problem solved. Like, there's no issue here. And then Kaplan asks the 3 other members to join him in the hallway, and that's when the defense system activates. So you have... Oh, sorry, I said Kaplan. 1. Sorry. You have 1 ask for 3 other members to join him in the hallway. So you have 1, you have the 2 guys whose name I don't know, and you have Medic in that hallway.
Yeah.
And they fucking die such fucking beautiful deaths, man. Like, you have the 3 guys ducking out of the first laser, and then Medic being decapitated by it because she was looking behind her.
Yeah, like the one guy gets his fucking fingers cut off.
Yeah, like when they duck with the dick under, the one guy gets his fingers cut off. And the second laser starts low, and I'll be honest with you.
Oh, the jump?
The jump is interesting for 2 reasons. 1, it makes sense, right? Like, you see the guy jump up,
and then, like, the laser, as he jumps, cuts him in half, yeah.
But here's the second thing, right?
Dude, 1, if you remember, immediately afterwards... jumps up like he's grabbing fucking monkey bars and just pulls his whole body up.
Oh, dude, pulls his whole body up and like fucking like holds himself firm. Like, dude, 1 is such a bamf in this fucking film. But here's the thing,
like, this scene is so fucking iconic in just film and the series that they replicate it in 4.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 does this scene again, worse, mind you.
But
it's a fun little reference.
It's a reference because Leon has to live through it.
Yeah,
but,
it's a fun little reference, but like. Yeah, no, this is the scene in my opinion.
Yes.
But one of the things I find really interesting here is the fact that there's, I wouldn't say a break in continuity, but an issue in continuity. Because you have the guy who has most of his fingers cut off, right, laying down on the ground.
Yes.
And now, mind you could make the argument the laser kills him, right? The laser that jumps up to get the other guy.
Yeah.
The laser, was on the ground earlier, so it killed the first guy and then killed the second guy, right?
Okay.
Or the second guy and third guy in continuity of this hallway. But how did it not damage any of the EMP equipment they would later use against the Red Queen? Because that was just on a bag on the ground. So how did they kill this guy but not damage the equipment that was also in the hallway with them?
There's reason to believe that it would, because I have the clip going right now on the laptop.
Sure.
Just because I wanted to make sure I remembered it properly. Yeah. When 1 is pulling himself up, we know that laser will damage I wouldn't say inorganic material, but like non-living tissue.
Yeah.
Because remember, his blade.
Knife. Yeah. Because through his knife and his sheath.
We'll get to this point here in a second, but when it crisscrosses, the laser would have shredded everything in that hallway.
Yeah.
You are right here.
No, it's one of those small things I noticed where I'm like, I'm not like terribly cut up about it, but I did notice a small continuity issue. Now, mind you, the crisscross scene.
I literally have a note, crisscross, because you think our badass one guy is going to make it through. It's like he's jumped through all the lasers, like, haha, I got this. And then the lasers, he's getting ready to jump, and all you see is the lasers go from, like, I forget the pattern, but they go from one laser, he's ready to jump.
It goes from one laser, it goes diagonal. And then it
creates a checkerboard pattern.
Yeah, it creates a grid. And then, I'll be honest with you, he has that moment where he goes, oh fuck. Like, oh shit, or oh fuck, or something. He says a curse word. And one of the things I always hear people criticize is the fact that, like, dude, you could just run backwards a little bit. Because literally, right after the laser is finished going through him, is when the guy finishes hacking it. But there's still more hallway down.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So it's one of those things where, like, people are like, oh, you totally could have survived that one. But it's like, I don't know. Like, this is, like, the first argument I made where, like, the equipment should have been damaged.
Yeah.
Like, sure, continuity-wise, I'm willing to ignore that. It's fine. It's not a huge of a deal. This one's one of those things where, like, I think thematically, this is perfect. The way he dies, the way it happens.
I got it right here. He goes, oh fuck, the lasers go through him. And we get what little bit of, like, I think, true gore you get out of this film, sort of.
In the reflection of the door.
No. Like, literally, Alice is looking through that window. You see the blood in a crisscross pattern on his face. And then it shifts focus from his face to Alice in the background. And you see part of his head just slip off.
I remember seeing his whole body fall down. And the reflection of the door where Alice is standing.
Yes, that happens also.
Okay, like that stands out a little more to me for some reason. And I don't know why, but
sure.
It's like seeing his body drop in cubes. Like you're just like, what the fuck? But yeah, no, the hallway scene's perfect. And I'll be honest with you, I love 1. One would have been the guy where, like, if they had
He's
opened...
the most competent
Oh,
of
dude,
all of them. You have to kill him off immediately.
If the Red Queen hadn't killed him there,
Yeah.
and if he had been alive for, like, the zombie scenario, he would have been the motherfucker to figure the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like he's too competent. And that's why you have to kill him for
Exactly.
narrative purposes, right? Like, narratives aren't real life. Narratives aren't, actuality, right? Like, you sometimes do things for a narrative that wouldn't happen in real life. And I think him dying was necessary and great the way they killed him. Like,
Yeah,
perfect.
no, it was such an iconic death.
Now, one of the things I did notice was the door code for the door to Alice's room
Okay.
is 12177.
Okay.
Now, the 70s, and I'm spitballing mad dog theories here. The 70s would have been around the time that the Umbrella Corporation would have been founded. 77 is the last two digits on that.
I think it's earlier than that. I think it
It's not earlier than that. It's
well,
not.
the lore goes back further than that, but Umbrella founding, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, the founding of the company is what
Right,
I'm talking
right.
about. But I think that's a anniversary of the founding of Umbrella, because if I remember correctly, Spencer and Ashford were the two gentlemen who founded Umbrella back in the day. But not a big deal. Just something that I noticed while we're going on. And then, of course,
long story short, they shut down the Queen, or they shut down something.
they shut down the Queen.
Right.
And the last thing she says, iconic line,
Yeah.
iconic quote. The quote, I think one of the takeaway quotes from this film. Y'all gonna die down here.
But no, they actually get to the end of the hallway that laser defense system was guarding,
Yeah, that's where
where the Queen is housed. Take her out, shut her down, and this is when the action starts to pop off.
I agree. I think it's funny that you and I have different focuses on what we're looking at, but fair enough.
Oh, I literally have the movie playing as I'm going now. I have it muted, but I want to make sure I got my scenes in order.
Fair enough. So, I'll be honest with you. This zombie intro, great.
Oh, yeah, no, my next note is Michelle Rodriguez bit, warning shot, bitch isn't standing now.
Yeah, no, that's all fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest with you. We have the intro to the zombies, and obviously
Matt's still handcuffed. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Matt, yeah, he's handcuffed this whole time.
Yeah, the whole time.
He has to get the keys for himself and free himself.
Yep.
But yeah, no. So Michelle Rodriguez encounters a zombie, thinks it's a survivor, gets bit, and it's like, hey, the crazy bitch bit me. Then JD fires like 5 warning shots into her legs, and then Michelle Rodriguez is like, fuck this shit, and mag dumps the bitch.
Yep.
Now, here's 2 things I have to say about this.
Okay.
I think this is a great introduction to the idea of zombies, right? Because it's a thing. There's
Well, there's an implication here. Umbrella didn't even tell these guys what the hell was going on down there.
they didn't know. All they knew was that everyone in the hive was dead all of a sudden because the Red Queen shut down everything and murdered everybody. There's no way to tell if they knew the T-virus was out, like, and being spread.
Right.
Now, mind you, based off later in the film at the very end, where everyone comes in with clean suits, they did know, and they didn't tell these guys.
Yep.
But at this point, we don't know that yet. But yeah, no. So I think the zombie introduction's great. My one criticism about like I shouldn't say one criticism. One really solid criticism I have for this whole film, throughout the whole film, is zombie behavior is so all over the place. Zombies can act like people and then bite you suddenly. Zombies can, later on in the film, rise up out of the water without making a single noise somehow. Yeah. Zombies sometimes, act like they know you and smile and even like look at you vaguely.
Which it's funny you bring that point up, and I'll address this somewhat at the end and more so in the next episode we do, whenever that is.
Next episode.
But the zombies like retaining some of their memories.
And to be fair,
plays a role in the next film.
The Red Queen does bring that up, but like
the need to feed quote, like that's what
what
they're run by.
We haven't gotten there.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten there yet. So, but yeah, so we have the whole gunfight scene, like literally the scene, the first zombie we meet, right?
The female in the white dress that bites. Yeah.
Well, not white dress. So
or white outfit.
Lab coat.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michelle Rodriguez lights up, the sheer, firepower forces the zombie back. And then later on, JD's like, It's gone. I don't know where it went. Why would a zombie just wander off away from a meal? Like, this makes no fucking sense.
And also, he's shooting her in the kneecap. The fact that this thing is able to still fucking walk away or crawl away at some point and them not see it is insane.
Well, to be fair, I mean, these things don't function off of any kind of nervous system at all. So you have to imagine, like...
Well, I'm talking about structural damage to the bone. Like, if you get kneecapped, like, that's going to affect your ability to shuffle away.
Right, but, like, how much? If you're ignoring pain entirely, right? Like...
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying they would have noticed in the short amount of time.
I agree. Like I said, the I was gonna say incongruity, but like that word which wasn't working for me.
So something else that happened.
Oh,
this is like someone drops the handcuff keys, and Matt notices on the ground is like
that's JD if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Drops the handcuff keys. But anyway, so we have the big zombie fight, and one of the things I do like about this scene, right, as opposed to the first scene with Michelle Rodriguez, is the fact that everyone's firing center mass and not knowing why it's not working. And I'll be honest with you,
because none of them know the experiments at this point and what they are.
I'll be honest with you, I might have previously like criticized them for not like experimenting and trying different things, but then, and this is a funny anecdote, I played Elden Ring, and if anyone here has played Elden Ring, you might know that when you kill a skeleton type enemy, after a certain amount of time, they resurrect. And I didn't realize that you can stop them from resurrecting by hitting them while they're resurrecting. So I literally, for the first like 20 hours I played Elden Ring, would kill a skeleton and then walk away knowing that it'd come back up like 3 seconds later. Because I thought they were just immortal.
Well, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but like Dark Souls 1, the skeletons only come back until you kill the Necromancer. Yeah.
Yes, but there was no Necromancer for this. Like, I knew there wasn't a Necromancer because I was out in the open world. Like, like, where the fuck would a Necromancer be? So, it's just one of those things where, like, I can kind of understand their thinking a little more, where it's like, hey, this is the thing we're taught to do. Kill a thing, shoot center mass, for example.
Yeah.
And it's not working. What do? More like they must be immortal then, like they must be invincible then, right? And when it occurred to them that the brain was the vital thing inherently, right? Because almost all military units are trained to shoot center mass usually. It's pretty rare for a military unit to be taught to shoot anything else, except in very specific circumstances. From my limited experience, I mean, you seem like, do you want to say something to that? You want to add something to that?
Oh, the military experience? No, you're not wrong.
Okay, I feel like I was off base because you were stroking your chin a little bit, but
yeah. So like this turns into like a huge fucking gunfight, and my next note is zombies fighting over divorced dad rock. Like, this is where, like, the early 2000s, like, weird metal starts playing.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't notice the music at all.
That hit me hard.
That's funny, though, because, yeah, it totally did play. The next note I have is actually about Spence.
Okay.
Because Spence is the first one to get to the door, the exit. And then Kaplan, the tech guy, remember? The guy who was on the computers all the time, comes up and is like, why the fuck did you wait? And Spence is like, I didn't know the code. And it's like, of course he didn't know the code.
Yeah.
And then Spence is trying to type in the code and he keeps fucking it up. Fucking Kaplan. Kaplan's such a fuck up, right? He's the tech guy, right? He keeps fucking up the code. And finally JD's like, bro, get the fuck out of the way.
Yes.
What's the code? And Kaplan keeps trying to say it. And finally Spence comes over and it's like, dude, what's the fucking code?
Dude, and Spence is being like weirdly cool, just standing there like nonchalant, looking around, be like, I don't know.
I wouldn't say really nonchalant. I would say the fact that, like, he understands the stakes.
Yes.
And seems oddly comfortable with them, right? Like, the fact that his life is at risk is this thing that he's somewhat used to, right? Which makes sense for his character, that we already know he's, like, an undercover op. So he's like, what's the code to Kaplan? Kaplan finally says the code correctly, and JD's like, how is that so fucking hard? And then immediately as the door opens, gets pulled in by the zombies.
No, JD gets done dirty.
And that's literally my last note on this is poor JD. Now, mind you, one funny clip right before that happens is Matt
on fire.
Matt has been struggling with these fucking keys this whole time.
Yeah, and like one zombie's just chasing him under the table. He's trying to fucking open the key or open the handcuffs.
But if you notice, the flaming zombie, when he finally unlocks himself and gets the zombie off of him, what's going on?
Well, let's find out. Let me pull up the clip.
I could tell you, or
you could go ahead and tell me.
Liar, liar! His pants are on fire. It's almost like Matt might have been lying about the fact he's a cop this whole time. I'm not sure if that was purposeful or not, but I found it very funny. I'll be honest with you. Because literally his pants are on fire and he's like bagging them down after he gets the cuffs undone. And I'm like, Matt's a liar, pants on fire.
Dude, so like a vibe that I get off of, this is a side tangent. A vibe I get off of fucking, why am I just name dropped him. Kaplan, that's what it was. The vibe I get off him.
The tech guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is like an E4 in the Marine Corps who just got promoted, and this is his first mission where he's actually seeing like real shit happen.
He definitely seems green.
Yeah, no, he does not seem to be qualified to be in this scenario. Like where like everyone else is like weirdly like mentally capable to handle this.
Yeah,
he's losing his fucking mind every step of the way.
So we have in the middle of the big firefight that happens, Alice, sorry. In the middle of the big firefight that happens, Alice is like, hey guys, watch your fire. And then we have a liquor escape after that whole scene, if you remember correctly.
Yes. And the liquor is some of the worst CGI I have seen.
I'm happy you noticed it as well.
It took me out of it because like the CGI in here wasn't great. Like if you remember that one zombie that turned his head to the camera in the previous scene and like half of it was missing. It wasn't bad. It wasn't
the worst.
But it wasn't taking me out of the experience.
I noticed it, but I was like, okay. Like, it's good enough.
The liquor is like
consistently awful.
Yeah, because
I'll be honest,
they should not have put the liquor in this movie.
I agree 100%. And two reasons why I agree to that. One, the CGI is bad, but
also the liquor doesn't come in until Resident Evil 2 in the games. To be fair, the first one had like the hunters and stuff, so there were. I would have rather seen the hunter in this.
Sure.
Because hunters are fucking terrifying. I don't know if you remember fighting them. Like when the hunters show up in the game.
I had to fight them in the remake of 3, and I was like, I forgot how terrifying these guys were.
No, they can instant kill you in the game. Like they do their jumping attack, they can just cut your head off.
Yeah.
A side tangent.
But yeah, no, I think the liquor. Yeah, I think the liquor was a misstep, especially the mutation and like the weird stuff around it.
It looked bad. It didn't play a huge role.
We'll get to the liquor when we get to the liquor, right? We see the liquor escape here, and that's when we get the cut to the kennels.
Yep.
And the kennel scene, I'll be honest with you, was the beginning of the end, in my opinion, for the Resident Evil series, because there's several things that happen in this scene that's great, right? The setup, right? We saw dogs in the beginning, in the prologue.
Yeah, and then there's like the flooded lab areas that we're going through.
And then we see Alice go into them later, and like they're all burrowed out of, and all the dogs are missing, and we know what the fuck's going on. And then Alice fights a dog briefly, and then if I remember correctly, gets forced into a room with a zombie. And
yeah, like you see the side kennels, you see the dog do the slow walk around the corner, and us be like,
the slow walk is great.
The dog looked so much better than the liquor.
It's practical. That's why. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it doesn't look perfect. Like, you can definitely tell it's a dog draped with shit.
Yeah, but
like it still looks great. And the slow walk around the corner.
That's a real ass Doberman just fucking bucking up.
Like, you just hear the fucking clicking of fucking. Oh, it's great. It's great. It's fucking iconic. That dog forces her into the side room. The side room, she fights a zombie.
Yep.
And she does some really weird like melee hits.
Oh, dude, the kick. Oh, I think it's in fucking dude, I literally have a note: liquor bad CGI.
Yeah.
But
I want to talk about the liquor more later.
But we'll it comes into play. Yeah. Now at this point, we're halfway through the film. Like we're at the half. Yes, this is the halfway point.
So I got a lot more pages to go. I got a lot more pages to go.
Her killing that black guy gave her a flashback that we don't really have context for. She doesn't either.
Her killing that zombie. Yeah. I'll make a point here. She does some really weird like palm moves,
judo shit or whatever,
and like faux punches against him to back him up, and then she does a jump spin roundhouse kick.
We'll get there.
No.
She takes the gun from the zombie.
No. There's two different kick jumps in this.
Yes.
She kills the zombie with a jump roundhouse spinning kick. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't completely insulted by it.
No. Because you got to think, she would... Hold on, there's a funny part that comes up here. But what's happening is she's gaining her reflexes back or her training back, but doesn't have the mental memory of why she has it.
She's literally going through like, hey, what do you do with a human assailant?
Exactly.
And then going through that. And
she's falling back on her training reflexively and then being confused by how she knows how to do that.
Well, to be fair, a jumping, spinning roundhouse kick being part of your training seems very unlikely to me.
It's flashy.
But you know what? I'm willing to let it go.
So
you know what I'm not willing to let go?
Let me tell you this.
Here we go.
So the zombie dog, after she picks up the gun from the zombie, the dog jumps through the glass. And then she runs into the next room.
She runs back into the room she started in the kennels.
The funny part is that I've got paused right now that I remember laughing at while watching
all
this.
All dogs standing there.
The whole pack of like 8 dogs just being like, hey, what's up?
Dude.
And then it's one of the most ridiculous action sequences of this film.
This action sequence, I think, is the beginning of the end of the Resident Evil series. Because this action sequence is so fucking dumb. So you have her shooting in slow motion. You have her shooting one round at a time and blinking on every round she fires because she's ill-trained to use her weapon.
And this is clearly a 9mm. It would not be blowing back a dog that's mid-jump at you.
But it'd definitely be killing them, right? If she's trying to get them before they die, doesn't matter. But anyway, so she's blowing through her magazine. She's blowing through this fucking 9mm. Looks like an M9 or Beretta.
It's a Beretta.
Yeah, and
which is a callback to the game,
right? And she's blinking on every fucking shot she fires. I'm like, God, how fucking aiming, bitch. But you know, I'll be honest with you, all that I'm willing to stand by.
Then the dog in the air vent.
Until the last dog.
Dude, I remember this scene. This was in a trailer. Like, this roundhouse kick was in a trailer for this movie.
Oh, 100%. Like, right alongside, like, you're all going to die down here.
There's 2 iconic moments from this movie for me. It's the laser hallway and this roundhouse kick where she jumps off, like, what looks like a refrigerator, another wall, and then just fucking boots this dog in the fucking teeth.
It's so dumb. I hate it.
It's dumb. I'm pouring a drink if that's picking up on mic. But it's so dumb. But that's what this series is.
This is what it found out it was. I'll be honest with you. Like, this one scene is like my...
If you want to make a point of this scene is where you realized what this movie was going to be and what it was trying to do, I track that.
No, I think this scene started a cancer in this series. Because anytime they don't know what the fuck to do or how to entertain their audience, they go to this really weirdly extreme Matrix-esque action.
Yeah, like the like half speed.
Like, you gotta think, the Matrix would have come out like 3 years before this. So
Matrix was
1999.
99, okay.
So this would have come out like before this film was ever in the works.
Damn, that's pre 9/11. Holy
and
shit!
It literally dictated action movies for like the next decade. And this film
and video games, dude. Like, think about Max Payne with the slow motion mechanic.
I agree. The point I'm making is the fact that this movie is one of those movies that impacted. They had these really weird Matrix moments at times. I'm just baffled by. It doesn't match the theme or the vibe at all. Yeah. Like, why did you do this,
bro? I forgot. Okay, so I literally have this. I'm going to show this roundhouse kick in the YouTube video that we put up. I didn't remember that she roundhouse kicks the dog through the glass.
Yeah. That it came through. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. But yeah, so then, so everyone's become separated. I don't think we established that very well.
Like that was a weird part of the movie where, like, I don't understand why they all got so separated.
Well, they're all in Dining Hall B, and then, like, the soldiers all knew, like, formation around each other.
Yeah.
And then, somehow Spence kind of got, like, dragged up with that because he knew the door to get out.
Yeah.
Whereas Alice and Matt both kind of wandered off.
Yeah.
Because Matt was handcuffed and Alice was...
And Matt is free at this point.
Yes,
and also, Matt is walking through the offices at this point.
Yes, so this is the first time we hear Matt say Lisa when he's looking through the desks. And that should be a connotation. We're like, oh, wait, the camera said Lisa Addison earlier. He's Matt Addison. Oh, my God!
Anyway. I think it's his sister, I believe.
It is his sister, yeah. So, zombies behave weird. There's a really weird zombie that comes up behind him that is his sister, Lisa. I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's Lisa, by the way. The zombie that comes up behind him is his sister.
Okay.
That's why he acts so weird. That's why it's not the zombie that's in the lab, in case you're curious.
Right.
You brought that up earlier. I wanted to...
No, you're right. I definitely like having the movie running silently so I can keep my thoughts straight.
Which, to be fair, I can't see the movie at all. This is all you. Like,
I'm getting scatterbrained.
I'm still off the top of my head, and you're
Yeah.
like, hey, let me get a cheat guide out real quick, okay? This is bullshit.
Bro, I'd be so scatterbrained, like trying to remember like the order of events of this movie.
But yeah, no, Lisa comes up behind him. He's like, Lisa? And she's kind of like,
Yeah.
Now I'm a zombie, now that I'm 5 fucking feet away from you. Oh, it's stupid. Anyway, so...
And she's fucking his ass up, too.
So, and this is, Alice saves him. And then...
By beating her over the fucking head with a glass paperweight, I assume is what that is. And this triggers the flashback sequence to now she remembers her being her contact, but doesn't really have the frame of reference as to what that means yet.
So here's where we have a really weird scene.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you remember how weird this is, but this is fucking super weird.
Okay.
Matt explains the truth to Alice.
Okay.
You remember the scene at all?
I remember it from 5 seconds ago. Is that when I loaded it up? Are we talking about like post flashback? Like immediately post flashback?
Yes, immediately after the flashback. I'm not asking you to actually remember it.
No, I don't remember specifics, but I remember them like looking like super moody and emo at each other.
So Matt and Alice were sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, Alice has just killed his sister as a zombie, and he's like, I lied to you. If the Spec Ops guys had taken more than 5 seconds to look at my ID, they would have realized it was a fake. I'm not a cop at all.
Yeah, and then he says,
What?
My sister had a contact. I don't know who it was.
Oh, all that
Yeah.
shit makes perfect sense
Yeah.
to me. Like,
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. And then it gets really fucking weird. Like, I don't think you must have been drunk. I don't think you realize how weird he fucking gets, but he's like...
Because we're an hour into the movie. Like, this scene you're talking about is an hour in.
My man, I don't want to preface this at all. Okay? My man literally looks at her, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, there are people around the world who would stand for this kind of behavior, okay? And I'm one of them, okay? We are a collective that understand that this
Oh, he gets Scientologist?
Bro, he sounds like he's from a fucking cult.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's from a fucking cult. Like, straight up. He's like, these people don't allow this kind of behavior to continue, and we'll do anything we need to do to justify the taking down of these power structures if they harm us in any way. And I'm like, dude, are you like part of Greenpeace? Or like what the fuck is going on right now?
Like, are you in the wrong movie?
He won't talk about what organization he's from, but just the vague idea that there's a fucking massive organization. And he says at one point that it's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people strong, won't allow the Umbrella Corporation to continue. And it's like, you sound like you're talking about a cult, dude. Like you're not talking about a movement. You're talking about a fucking cult right now. Like, what the fuck is... And he's like, I was a part of that movement, and I recruited my sister and forced her to work for Umbrella so I could get dirt on them. He forced his own sister to her death so he could get dirt on a corporation. I don't get it. I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. I was baffled by it. I'll be honest with you. Like, if you can go back and like parse through it, and like you think you got something more, feel free to add it to the section. But like,
no, you clearly feel very strongly about this scene.
Matt seems irredeemable to me. He sent his own sister to die in a dangerous corporation because he thinks corporations like this shouldn't have the power they have.
Matt gets his. We'll talk about Matt in the second film. A little bit more.
We'll talk about Matt in this film, sure.
Oh, we have more, but Matt gets done a certain way.
But yeah, so right before that is when we have the flashback, and for some reason, Alice at this point, who isn't known as Alice this whole film, but we'll continue to call her Alice.
Yeah.
Thinks that she caused the event. Like she remembers having the contact with Lisa Addison, Matt's sister.
Yes.
And she starts. You can tell the way she's thinking. She starts drawing the conclusions that she's might be the one who caused this event to happen.
Yeah, she questions it because, like, in my notes I have Mila, because I didn't even call her Alice at this point. Mila contact ?
Well, she doesn't tell Matt at all.
Right.
She didn't tell Matt at all because she thinks she might be the one who caused it. Like, this is literally Alice going through the arc of, like, am I the baddie? Like, am I the bad guy? Which I thought was really funny.
Which is a trope I hate in films.
It's really erroneous because there's nothing that should lead her to believe that she caused this up to this point, other than the fact that she had a contact in the hive. Like, okay.
Well, the trope that I hate in films is you have your protagonist who has memory loss, who tries to be a good guy, but was the bad guy before they had the memory loss.
Yeah.
Like, I don't find that an enjoyable story.
So, and this is so after that interactions, we have a really important part of the film, which we might pause after this, to be honest with you. We'll pause. We won't pause on the recording. But she says they have just under an hour to get out of there, and there's only 44 minutes left in the movie, folks. That's just under an hour.
There's 37 minutes and 35 seconds.
Bro, I wrote down the time when she actually says it. Don't fuck me up.
I'm actually curious if there's like a cut comparison.
I gotta pee. We're gonna take a quick
break
here.
All right. I'm gonna mute the mic, keep the recording going. And we're back.
We are back indeed. So, with just 44 minutes and some change left in the film, they take a look at the timer and say they have just under an hour left. That's where we left off. So this is the scene where Alice and Matt meet back up with the group.
Okay.
And they have the conversation. That's when they find out. That's when they discuss the fact that they have.
Because Alice and Matt bust through the door, and Michelle Rodriguez just fucking pulls a gun up real fucking quick.
And they're like, "Hey, we got it. We got less than an hour. Oh, we're all doomed, basically, And fucking Alice is like, "Fuck this shit."
So hold on, real quick. Because I had this going in the background, and I literally recorded it off of my VCR as I was watching it to get footage for what we're doing.
Yes.
So you're saying there's 44 minutes left in the film.
Yes.
Because I don't even have that clip up yet, and I have 38 minutes left in the film, including credits. So you must have a different cut than I do.
Interesting.
I think I have a theatrical cut, and I think you might have had
the OG. Yeah. Very, very possible, because I made a very... Dude, I make specific notes throughout this. I have 2 more timestamps later on. We can go ahead and compare when we get there.
Interesting, okay.
But,
because at an hour, 20 minutes of us recording, we're not going to have any views on this. So...
Oh, who gives a shit, bro?
Exactly, I'm having a good time.
This is from me, all right? So, this is when we have, I think, one of my favorite cat verbal offs, if you will, where it's like... Michelle Rodriguez, or Rain, as she's known in the film, looks down and is like, that homicidal bitch killed half of my team, and then Mila
Jovovich picks up the case, walks down the hallway.
No, they're already in the room at this point. In the room, Rain says, this homicidal bitch killed half my team, and Alice is like, this homicidal bitch might be the only way to get out alive.
So I literally just saw her do that mouth movement of the bitch killed my team.
Yeah.
Exactly 37 minutes left. So you have a different cut than I do.
See, maybe. But fair enough. So this is when we get the exposition on the T-virus.
I literally have a note saying exposition. That's my next note.
Yes, exposition on the T-virus. No, I believe you. Your notes are awful, by the way. You gotta take better notes.
My drunk ass had the idea of write very vague notes. That way sober Nathan can have fun putting it together.
Oh,
sober Nathan is not happy with drunk Nathan.
I took some pretty... don't get me wrong, some of my notes are a little vague, but they're not that vague. But yeah, no. So we get the T-virus exposition, and there's 2 things here in the T-virus exposition that I find interesting. And that's, one... the T-virus seems to have different effects when injected directly into live tissue, which we find out later with the liquor.
That's canonical in the game, where it does different things.
And 2, the T-virus is not only something that reanimates the dead, but also something when you are infected with will kill you and then bring you back from the dead. which is also canon because also obviously Itchy Scratchy from the first game.
It's not Itchy Scratchy. It's Itchy Tasty.
Is it Itchy Tasty?
I'm because that is a quote that I've used multiple times.
You have used it multiple times.
I have realized I used it wrong.
I might be misremembering it.
Because that's such an iconic moment in the first game. Itchy Tasty, yeah.
Itchy Tasty, fair enough.
Itchy Scratchy is The Simpsons.
Yes, no, I was well familiar. I just thought that maybe they had something in common. They don't
nope.
Apparently. Well, they have Itchy in common, apparently. But yeah, no, and obviously we have the great line here from the Red Queen, where she's like, you know, the driven by the most base of impulses.
They're driven by the most, like, basic need, and, like, what's that? The need to feed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna put that quote in
It's amazing. And one of the quotes you take away from the film, then she talks about how it's a protein virus, meaning that it can change from liquid gas to solid very easily. Which is awful. Like, why would you ever have that? And this very interestingly turns back around to the beginning of the film, because you remember she filled a lot of the holes with the helium gas for the fire suppression. So that's the reason why our protagonists aren't infected with the airborne version.
That was an issue I had watching it.
She literally forced it out of the air system by pumping the air system with the helium gas for the fire suppression. They don't really explain that, but if you're following through the film and you're really paying attention, you do kind of pick that up a little bit. Just pointing it out. I also don't like the fact that she says you can get it from something as simple as a bite or a scratch.
That's it's weird.
Like the bite I get, the scratch I don't, but then again I guess that makes sense for Matt later on.
But also if it's a zombie, their skin and tissue is deteriorating to a point where fluid would be coming out of it.
Fair enough. I mean, to be fair, like any open wound, I guess, would basically make you
But
fucked.
here's a quick scene, I'm not sure if you remember, or maybe you do. While they're all talking to the Red Queen, they do a cutaway to a dead body that you're going, like the camera's starting at the bottom and going up, and then you see the name tape of JD.
Yeah, you see the revitalization of JD while she's talking over it. He's literally like
which is an issue I take, because remember, zombies want to feed. He got pulled in by a huge horde. There should be nothing left of him to come back.
Well,
I don't want to get too hung up on it, but...
Well, I'll be honest with you. If we talk about the need to feed, are we talking... Because they don't have any kind of nervous system in this hypothetical universe. They don't have any kind of nervous system or any kind of ability to tell if they're full or even hungry, right? They're just driven by the idea, if you will, of feeding. So,
I don't know that I agree with you, but I don't want to get hung up on that.
Well, it's not like they get any nourishment from eating human flesh. We know that for a fact. Like, humans don't really get a lot of nourishment from eating human flesh. The zombies that don't require nourishment at all definitely aren't getting anything from it. So is it something as simple as the fact that a zombie, if you were to be attacked by one, would just bite you over and over again, or would it actually seek to try to devour you? And if it did devour you, would it have any kind of way to actually process what it devoured?
Well, it becomes an issue depending on what series or canon or version of zombie you're talking about. So
yeah, I would say in this universe, and this is my personal opinion, I'd say in this universe, the zombie is driven by the need to feed.
Now, when we say universe, we're talking about the movie universe, not the
cinematic universe.
Yes. Okay.
I would say the zombie is driven by the need to feed, but that only extends to the fact that, like, it literally grabs you and bites you, right?
Sure.
Like, it's not actually feeding on you. It doesn't have any actual process for feeling hunger or process for processing anything that it would actually physically eat, theoretically. But that's just the theory that I'd put out there.
It's generally. At this point, they go into the tunnels. Or sewer system, I guess.
And that's when we have, at the very beginning of that scene, Michelle Rodriguez and, I keep using their real names, Rain and Alice looking down the pit. And Rain, who has been bit at this point, like he's wounded, looks over Alice and is like, after you. And then I find it really funny because literally the next scene is Rain taking the lead after telling Alice after you and doing it by doing the most squat peak I've ever seen in my life. Like she's literally doing...
Oh, the deep squat?
She's literally doing like a Rainbow Six crouch peak. And it's the funniest thing in the world to me because like I play Rainbow Six Siege and I see people squatch. Fucking crouch peak all the time and it cracks me up. But But yeah, no. And then they're in the sewers. They have the argument, and we have that really funny scene.
Yeah, she throws him up against the grate.
And she's like, they're right behind us. We have to be careful. And he's like, what do you mean? And then they reach through, and they're literally right behind him.
Yes.
A little bit of.
And then this is just. There's a line here that I don't know if it was impactful for you, but it's a standout moment that I remembered before watching this.
Okay, I don't think I have this, but what do you have?
So, one, we have Mila Jovovich fucking choking a dude out with her thighs.
I literally have...
Her neck snapping.
I literally have bullet point martial arts stupid in this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep going.
So, basically, Mila Jovovich fucking breaks the neck of a zombie with her thighs.
Yes.
Then everyone just starts doing random fighting, and zombies are grabbing shit, and it's whatever. And then they get up onto the pipes.
Okay.
And then Kaplan's pipe breaks, and he falls into the horde. But he gets away. Or he crawls up, and the zombies can't climb up. The quote, I don't know.
You are missing some stuff here. So they get separated. Kaplan's being attacked in the pipe. And Rain is going through the infection, and she can't. Her vision's going.
Yeah, she's like,
she's like,
I can't fucking see or something like that.
She's like, I can't fucking see. She's like, her vision's going. So Alice has to take the gun from her,
and she gets bit again and drops her gun. This bitch has been bit, I think, 3 times.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, so Alice grabs the gun from Rain and takes the shot. And I thought she was going to kill Kaplan because I haven't seen this movie in a long time.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, mercy kill. But she shoots the zombie, attacking Kaplan, and Kaplan goes up the pipe. And then
if you remember, she's getting in a fight. JD bites her neck.
Oh yeah,
the JD zombie. Like I think at this point, 4 times she's been bit.
At least 2.
Yeah,
maybe 3 or 4. But
3 guaranteed. 2
3
or 4.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, the initial bite. Then she got bit. Yeah, the hand. Then she got bit on the arm at the beginning of this fight, and then JD bites her neck.
No, she got bit on the arm trying to grab JD. That's what it was. You're right. It is 3. Okay. Yeah, because JD gets pulled back, and she tries to grab him back, and she gets bit. Yeah. But yeah. So
then they all get up on the pipes. Yeah. They're talking. She's dripping blood from her hand into the horde as they're fucking clamoring for it.
Not there yet.
I'm there now. So you must have a different cut than I do.
No. We haven't finished the Kaplan scene yet. You're talking about the Kaplan scene.
Well, that's because, like...
You said the quote. I have the same quote. I thought we were going to the same place.
Oh, you have work for your meal written down?
Not the quote.
That's my quote.
To be fair, that's a good quote. Actually, I do have that written down, I think.
Like the Metal Gear Solid 4 trailer suicide thing?
Yeah, so the point I'm going to make is the fact that you think Alice is going to kill him to put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
She doesn't. She kills the zombie attacking him. He crawls to the pipe. He pulls out his .38 special that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's the only fucking gun he has. And he fucking empties the cylinder, and he's like, 1 bullet. How lucky. Loads the bullet, puts it in his mouth, and right before he says that, he puts the bullet in the cylinder. And he's like, you have to leave him behind, guys. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. He's like, leave him behind. And like, no. And then he shouts, go! And like literally every other sound drops out. Like it's just a weird scene, but like it works so well because everyone else is left, and it's just Alice standing there in the pipe when he says that, and all the music drops out and everything. All the zombies sound drops out, and you just like hear him yelling "go" at her, resonating in her ears, and she leaves. And that's when you think that he's gonna kill himself, and then you hear the gunshot, and you assume he did kill himself. Yeah. And they cut back later.
You see the zombie falling off.
He's actually shot the zombie. And he's like, "You're off to work for your meal."
I don't know why that quote stuck with me.
That quote, that
kid.
I do remember that quote from when I was younger. There's a couple quotes in here that like I heard again. I was like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like I remember these fucking quotes. But there's a couple criticisms I have. One, after he shoots the zombie, he just throws his gun into the horde of zombies.
Yeah,
stupid. Why would he do that? You like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you will find out ammo for it later, but at least use it like a club or something. Like
a bludgeoning device.
Yeah, like something. Liquor bad CGI happens again. Don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then we have what Michelle Rodriguez, and I'll use her real name here.
The quote, she's like,
was famous for this during this time period, during the early 2000s. She was the go-to girl for being like the tough girl, like the tough tomboy girl.
Like in fucking, I wouldn't
Fast
say Need.
Furious.
Yeah, I was about to say Need for Speed, but I'm like, no.
Furious, yeah. But yeah, she jokes around about getting laid.
Yes,
here.
my quote is, You're not getting laid, honey.
My line says, "Girl talks about getting laid. So funny." You can tell my opinion off of that, I think. So we have another flashback here where we get a more full picture of what Alice knew.
Yeah, my next quote is, "I was your sister's contact."
Now, the music here is the same kind of music. It's very instrumental. Like I said, it reminds me of Saw, but it might be I might be pulling it for somewhere else's too. Like my memory's shit.
Oh God, yeah.
But that's when Alice looks at fucking Rain and is like, "Oh, there's an antivirus. Let me lead you there." And then literally this bitch bleeding from the neck, bleeding from two places on her arm, being carried by a man over her shoulder.
Two men.
She's like, "Oh, good. I was beginning to worry." And that actually made me laugh. Like, that's such a good line.
Dude, I really think Michelle Rodriguez's character in this is probably my favorite.
I'll be honest with you. My favorite character...
Like one, I think, is the obvious, like, he's just so fucking cool. Second he steps onto the screen.
One, I really want... Like
I barely consider him a character in this film because he dies so quickly.
I almost wish they'd remake this film and have one be the survivor instead of Alice, because I think that would have been better, personally. But
he's just so cool.
He's just so fucking
Can you imagine if one was Idris Elba? I know, right?
I'd suck one's dick so fast. But anyway, so then we have the confrontation between everybody, because Alice looks for the virus antivirus. It's gone, obviously, because we already know it's been stolen.
Yeah, because Alice, like, I think I have another like weird flashback sequence where like she's walking through the office, but then there's like flashback ghost bodies of the scientists working on it. That's the scene you were talking about where there's an antivirus.
Yeah, she's having the memory. But anyway, so then I can't remember who it is, but someone confronts her, and she literally
confronts Alice.
Yeah, confronts Alice. I have it written down here. I don't remember the truth, and my quote is, "This is almost A Few Good Men," where it's like, you can't handle the truth. I don't know why that made me laugh.
Just, you're a few good men short.
I was drunk when I was drunk and high when I wrote this.
Well, remember, like we go to where the antivirus was.
Well, and it's not there anymore. The virus and the antivirus are gone.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And then at this point, we get the facial close up of Spence.
Not yet.
No,
so we're in the lab now. Sorry, we're in the lab now. Now remember, if you will, in the very beginning of the film, the lab was flooded.
Yes.
They tried to break out with an axe. That didn't work.
Yes.
Then later in the film, in the very beginning of the film, when the SWAT team, the Spec Ops guys come in, they say, "Hey, we have to go to the labs." And I'm like, "Hey, it's flooded. We can't go through the labs." That's why they go to Dining Hall B instead.
Yes.
And now we're at the labs again on their way out because they unlocked all the doors. Like, the continuity here is amazing.
Well, hold on. Where was the dogfight? Was that in the labs?
That was in the kennels.
Okay, so that's a separate room. Okay.
Separate room, separate area. But yeah.
But if she was so easily able to kick a dog who is already mid-motion, like is already thrusting towards her, she kicks the dog and then redirects it through glass. No. Why are there two different types of glass?
No. They mention in the very beginning sequence in the lab where the chick is screaming at the camera.
Yes.
Like, "There's no fire! There's no fire!"
Yeah, my note, "Fire drilled my ass."
And the guy comes behind her and is like, "Hey, we got here. This is a sealed lab." And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "It's perfectly sealed." And she's like, "Oh, shit." And that's when someone tries to break out the axe and they barely make a pinprick through the window. And that's where we see the fucking water coming through later through the fucking pinpricks, which is great, by the way.
Yes.
But yeah, so essentially what they're saying up there is the fact that this lab is one of the biohazard labs.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it has a T-virus. Because remember, that's where the T-virus came from.
Yes.
So...
Also, your phone, side note, your phone keeps blowing the fuck up. Are you just getting a bunch of texts?
No, it's not blowing up. Anytime it feels vibration, it turns on.
Oh, that's where the squeak is coming from.
Well, yeah.
The table, okay.
The table and chair. Really there. But yeah, so we have her looking for the virus antivirus, her not remembering the truth, and then that's when Spence jumps in.
And like, dude, it's like a camera just zoom in on his fucking stoic ass face.
And Spence remembers he's the one who found out that she was planning on selling. And
because wasn't he like? Because the way the flashbacks work in this movie is you get one black and white flashback with like a line. Then you get more context from another flashback later on, and then more and more and more. And then now, the Spence flashback, you see him fucking listening in with like one of those directional mics.
I wouldn't say that's strictly true, because they usually flash a whole lot of images.
Right.
Like, they're a little sparse in dialogue, I will agree, but they flash usually a lot of images. But yeah, but here, Nathan, the whole discussion, which no one will listen to, has been building to this point.
Oh yeah, no one's still here.
Has been building to this point, because I want to make an argument here. This is where I want to stand my ground. Spence loved Alice.
Okay.
So, what we have in Spence's flashback is him listening in on Alice, planning on taking down the company and selling the company secrets, right?
Yeah, and then we find out he's the one that leaves the note.
No. Yes, but that's important. So, he hears, because this is the point that Alice doesn't remember, but Spence does. At the end of her meeting with Lisa, she says, "Hey, I have one condition." And earlier in the film, we heard that cut off, and we didn't know what the condition was. But now we hear it from Spence's perspective, because he's listening with the directional mic, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And he hears Alice say, "I have one condition: take this motherfucker down. Like, take this corporation down."
Yeah.
And so Spence, planning on profiting for himself, still loves Alice. So he writes her a note saying, "Today all your dreams will come true."
Yes.
And then goes down there and doesn't just steal a virus, which would be relatively easy, but
as demonstrated.
But purposely drops a vial. Purposely throws a vial.
He just backhands a vial.
For her.
Yeah.
For Alice. Because if he'd stolen the vials, don't get me wrong, he'd make money, but that wouldn't take down Umbrella Corporation. But spreading their own virus in their lab and then stealing the secrets as well, he gets paid and Alice gets to take down the corporation. He literally took into consideration what Alice wanted and tried to fit it as well as he could into what he wanted to do as well.
Okay.
And looking back and realizing that in the film, I was blown away. I was like, oh my god, this guy actually does care for Alice, which explains the next scene so much. Because we have the gun scene. Because,
he has this memory unlocked.
The flashback comes...
And then I want to say Alice comes to a realization shortly after, but he has the drop on him.
No. You missed that. You missed that. Maybe. Alice and him meet eyes for a brief second.
Yes.
And Alice doesn't... Well, maybe I'm projecting slightly here, but Alice sees something. I think...
I agree.
I think she sees that this isn't the same Spence that gave her the coat.
Yes.
Right? This is the other guy. And they both lunge for the gun. He gets it first. So, Spence offers Alice a ride out like 3 times during the scene.
Okay.
And I remember watching as a kid being like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are we taking so much on this? But in hindsight, I realized, like, he was literally in love with Alice. But he's just the kind of guy to throw away an obsession for profit. Like, obviously he is. He literally is a part of the Umbrella Corporation, trained there for years potentially, got awarded the safe house as the mansion, and then later snuck in and stole their fucking virus as an antivirus, right? The guy obviously has some level of patience and some level of willing self-sacrifice for a perceived greater good, and now it's exactly what he's doing with Alice, right? He's like, hey, I want to take you with me, but I'm not going to force you. Like, just come with me. And she says no. And he's like, come with me. She says no. He's like, come with me! Come! And she's like, no. And that's when we have the stupid scene with the...
So, my note, because clearly I took less detailed notes than you, but my next note is Chad versus Chad. Chad being the derogatory term for muscle-bound meathead.
You talking about the liquor? Because we're not there yet.
No, we're definitely not there yet.
Anyway, the point I was going to make is the fact that... So, this is where we have a really stupid scene where the zombie stands up behind...
Well, yes, I have a note for that, but this, literally what happens between that is we see Spence backhand the virus, and then it starts playing back that opening intro
talking
from
about the
his
coffee
perspective.
spill?
Yes.
The coffee spills Chad versus Chad?
No. I'm literally telling you what's happening right now. So, like, it does, like, the weird playback of the intro.
Yeah, I know what... I watched the film, Nathan. I know what happens. Mind you, there's some weird political shit kind of, like, spiced in there. Kind of oddly. I don't want to make a huge comment on it. I just thought, like, it was kind of weird. Like, not weird because it was political, but a weird kind of political, if that makes sense. But that's not here nor there. But yeah, so you have the zombie stand up quietly behind Spence.
Yeah, no, I have a note. Michael Myers, Deus Ex Machina. I don't know why I put Deus Ex Machina, but he did the Michael Myers sit up.
What?
Like, have you ever seen Michael Myers? Like, have you seen Halloween?
Yeah.
No, you know his signature, like...
No, I know what you're referring to. I haven't seen Halloween, but yeah, no, the thing that's more baffling me is the fact that, like, I don't mind the setup and getting up. The thing I mind is the fact that there's still water on the ground.
Yeah.
So it's getting up in water and somehow not splashing or trickling.
Well, also, like, the dead body is, like, left in water will absorb that water.
Yeah, and it's been in water for a while. I mean,
for at least, I want to say, 12 hours.
That's literally the same zombie we saw earlier put its hand against the glass.
Yes,
curious.
yes.
The exact same zombie. So it's been underwater.
Yeah, she's been waterlogged for at least 12 hours.
For almost, I would say almost a day at this point. But anyway, so we have that scene. The zombie bites him. He manages to escape.
Yeah.
And then we have Rain, or Michelle Rodriguez, with the great quotes. Wait,
get glasses, goddammit.
Your boyfriend's a real asshole.
Yes. Fantastic line.
Great quote. And then they start lamenting about how he's going to get away with it. And then that's when the Red Queen jumps in. It's like, I've been a bad girl.
Yeah, that's a quote. Boyfriend asshole, bad girl.
Yeah.
And then next note, lickers be licking. And that's when the liquor crawls in from the ceiling.
Yeah, so, well, to be fair, one of the things I think, one of the big mistakes I made with liquors is the fact that, like, liquors, for some reason,
dude.
Well, for some reason, like, their claws go straight into cement and concrete.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can do that, but, like, don't act like it surprised anybody, because that's a lot of force and a lot of shit you're fucking doing there. Like, don't act like everyone's surprised to see it fucking jump on them. It's not really a predatory hunter if it's fucking literally gouging holes in concrete, right? But one of the things that I have here, it might be better to bring up later, but I guess I'll bring it up now
because there is 15 minutes left in the movie.
So they get to the train.
Yes.
So Kaplan is still alive. I thought Kaplan could kill himself at some point. He ends up frying the Red Queen, because the Red Queen insists that they kill Rain.
That I have a note, Red Queen equals cunt, in reference to her saying we have to kill Rain.
Different cunt? What do you mean? Like, yes, I would agree. Kill the infected person.
Logically, yes, but at this point, I already said Rain is my favorite character in this film, so I'm like, I don't want my favorite character to die.
I was laughing because for a second there, I forgot how the film went, and when Alice put the axe in the television, I was like, what, she short-circuited the whole fucking base? Is that why all the doors open? And then Kaplan shows up, I'm like, oh, fuck, they actually have an explanation. Shit. All right, I gotta rethink about this. But anyway, so...
Oh, God, and yeah, the liquor kills fucking... our dude, and then mutates off of him feeding.
Yeah, so that makes no sense. Like,
no, I didn't like it.
The Red Queen says that the liquor is now mutating because it has fresh DNA.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
That's really stupid and makes no sense whatsoever.
I mean, if someone's still here listening to us, correct me in the comments, but I don't remember the video game, the liquor mutating at all after eating.
I'm sorry, I skipped ahead slightly because I misread my notes. So, before Kaplan opens the door, there's a great scene where Rain, or Michelle Rodriguez, grabs the same fire axe.
Yeah.
And she's like, she goes over to the window and then sees all the little holes the guy who died in the beginning made with the fire axe.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And he's like, and she literally looks at the holes, she's like, fuck it, and she just drops the axe. And I thought that was amazing. Like, look, what great environment storytelling, right? Where
Yes.
it's like we've literally seen from start to finish, like what happened with this lab, what happened with people trying to get out of it before, and it's like they've really established the fact, like, no, there's no getting out of this lab. The guys who were drowning in here, like, couldn't get out of this lab.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna get out. It's like her just looking at the axe holes, being like, fuck it, and like throwing the axe to the side. Brilliant. I love that. Let's see.
I'm missing you already as a quote.
Oh, we're not there yet.
No, we're definitely not there yet.
So, oh god. Okay.
Oh no, never mind. I'm misreading mine too. Wait, I'm missing you already. I have as a double quote because he says it to Alice. Alice says it to him as she kills his zombie corpse. Okay, a corpse.
So,
Funny how an hour 50 minutes into this podcast,
I told you this might
I'm getting a little toasty.
I wasn't thinking it'd be 2 hours. I'll be honest with you. I was thinking an hour, but
well,
you know
we took a couple minute potty break, but
it takes as long as it takes, right? But so here is my second crux.
I have a gap in notes. So literally, liquor still licking. Matrix.
Stop.
And then we cut. Yeah.
Stop. Matrix
So, like,
is too far already.
Yeah. My notes end here.
So here we are, right? So they get to the train, and then when they get to the train, Spence jumps up.
The corpse.
But he's got electric blue eyes. Now,
Really?
here's two things here to notice here. One, he's got electric blue eyes, and no other zombie has changed eye color at this point. And two, he took the antivirus before he died. So this raises two questions, in my opinion, right? One, either the Red Queen's right, as she has been saying,
Okay.
and the antivirus has not been tested for someone this far in infection, and therefore could prove to be unreliable.
Correct.
Meaning the antivirus is bunk, and the antivirus they're about to give to both Kaplan and Rain won't work anyway, or that there's an infection that comes special from the BOWs.
So, I was going to bring this up. So, well, the zombies are considered BOWs within the game.
Are they?
No, actually, I think I'm wrong.
No, they're not.
Because zombies, like the humans...
Zombies are just a byproduct.
They were test subjects, and they were byproducts, you're right. The BOWs are like the hunter,
Designed.
the tyrant,
Yes.
nemesis, you're right, okay. Because an issue I had here with this film is, remember, like I said, Michelle Rodriguez bit 3 to 4 times during this movie.
Yeah.
Takes the whole fucking movie to turn.
I think 3 is the number we're behind. But yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Takes the whole movie to fucking turn.
Now, mind you...
Spence, who gets killed by the fucking liquor, and if you see all that blood, he got shredded.
He was killed.
Yes.
Yes.
Some of his organic matter absorbed by the liquor, obviously, because the Red Queen says he has new DNA.
Okay.
Maybe not eaten, but
No.
taken in,
I
right?
understand what you're saying. What's the point?
He turns so fucking quick after he took the antivirus.
No.
I'm saying relative to Michelle.
Okay, well, two differences here. One,
The BOW killed him, a zombie bit her.
well, no. The big difference is the BOW killed him, and then he turned.
Okay.
Yeah, if you remember the CCTV video where it's like he's being ripped apart.
Yeah.
Like dragged around and ripped apart. Michelle Rodriguez, Rain, is not killed. She's bit several times. And this is the point I brought up earlier.
You're right, okay.
This is the point I brought up earlier where, like, the T-virus doesn't only reanimate you when you're dead, but it also will kill you over time. Spence didn't get to experience that because he was killed
Yes.
and then turned, whereas Michelle Rodriguez, or Moraine, is infected and then dies by the T-virus, actually.
Okay.
Theoretically, at least. Like, I mean, I guess she could have died of blood loss, but I think it's the T-virus that kills her. But anyway, no, the thing I find interesting here is that either, when we see Spence is infected, right, we have two conclusions, right? Either the BOW has, like, an ability to infect those who have the antivirus already anyway, or the antivirus is ineffective. Those are the only two options. Because Spence took the antivirus before the BOW attacked him and still became a zombie with lightning blue eyes, which is a different thing.
I am trying to find that image
Of Spence coming back?
No, of the blue eyes, because Michelle Rodriguez has glazed over eyes when she turns and attacks Alice.
Are you looking for Spence?
I'm looking for Spence.
Yeah, we'll go back. They just got to the train.
Okay.
Alice needs to grab the case that has the antivirus in it.
Because Michelle Rodriguez turns before Spence's zombie body shows up.
After.
Are you sure?
100%. Spence is before.
We're going to pick up a lot of mouse clicks on the...
Yeah, no. Spence
turns
you're right.
As
they're getting on the train.
You're right.
Rodriguez turns on the train. And I hate to spoil it, but, at this point, I got to correct you.
No, you have to, because one...
It'll help us.
Yes.
But yeah, so if you I don't know if you're freeze framing right now, but if you look at him, he has electric blue eyes, and he's the first zombie to have that. And we don't know if it's because he took the antivirus and the antivirus didn't work, or if it's because he's infected by a BOW. Which in the game I think is like what, biological,
bioorganic weapon.
Yeah, that's what it is. So right after that we have a cut to the clock. So
yes,
there's 8 minutes on the clock. 17:20 left in the movie.
Which is insane to me how much of a difference we have. I mean, I bitched about it enough already, but we definitely have different cuts. Like,
really?
It is insane to me how big of a time gap we have.
How much time do you left in the film?
So, hold on. You're talking about the clock?
The clock says should have 8 minutes left on it.
Okay. I'm gonna find the part.
Yeah, feel free, because I'm dead curious at this point. I'll be honest with you. If anyone's still listening, bravo.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'll clap in your honor. I was going to say I'm going to jack off in your honor, and I was like, I don't think most people want that. I will clap in your honor.
I will get clapped. So, hold on. Is the time you're looking for... Michelle Rodriguez would have already turned by what you're talking about, right? No, she doesn't.
No, she's not dead yet.
Okay,
No.
okay.
No, I have that quote. They just got on the train after the Spence zombie. Did you ever find Spence zombie?
No, I couldn't find it, and I don't want to have too many mouse clicks. No, sit the fuck down.
Like, I can't see the screen.
So the part I'm at...
I want to help you.
The part I'm at is the liquor is breaking through the window as Kaplan opens the door.
Let's go back further.
Okay, the point I'm making here, the point I want to make is, that's 13 minutes, 30 seconds with credits on my version.
I got 17:20 for...
Yeah, so, like...
It's not too far off,
It's not too far off, but we definitely have different cuts.
Apparently. Anyway, so... And right after that is when Alice and Rain have that scene
where like she thinks she's dead, but has like the gun.
Yeah, she pulls
up
the gun, and then Rain's like, "I'm not dead yet." One, you should have let the bitch shoot you, Rain. Okay, because you come back to be a pain in the ass later. You bitch.
No, she's real inconvenient.
Fucking cunt. Did she give Rain the antivirus?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either, actually. I don't remember them ever seeing her give Rain the antivirus. Doesn't matter. Because she turns anyway.
Yeah,
so I, like...
Oh, the clock. 8 minutes. I randomly clicked, actually, and got to it.
8 minutes.
The clock says 8 minutes.
Yes.
With 11 minutes and 19 seconds left.
I have 17:20. I wrote it down. I have 17:20 left in this film.
You have 6 minutes of additional footage that I don't have.
I'm curious.
Because my version...
I'm curious if that comes up.
Because I told you, the VHS doesn't have... I wanted to talk about trailers. I wanted this to be like a review of the early 2000s, 90s culture a little bit added in.
Well, I'm not...
It went straight into the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, we have different cuts.
Alright, so we have "I'm not dead yet" as a quote from...
Yes, I have that too.
Yeah. And then that's when Liquor claws aside and claws Matt.
Liquor still licking, yep.
Matt clawed is what I had.
Liquor still licking is what I got.
See, I like Matt clawed better because it makes me think of White Claws.
Ugh.
But then we have... I literally wrote Matrix dumb shit.
Matrix, like, I literally just wrote Matrix.
Matrix dumb shit. Where they have a slow motion shot of a bullet, and the bullet, and, like, there's almost something clever here, right? Because, you know, in the Matrix, obviously every bullet kills. And in this, she fires a bullet in slow motion, and we see it enter the skull of the Liquor, and it do, like, literally nothing. And I think that could have been impactful, but like the formatting like wasn't quite there yet. Like they were trying to emulate the style rather than.
We gotta think this was
style.
made. I think the year. Or no, this would have been 3 years after Matrix.
Well, to be fair, it would have started production as the Matrix was hot. Probably even maybe in theaters or just on VHS, right? So like I don't blame them for this, but like this could have been solid.
Yes.
And they didn't want it to be solid.
So my notes get very you gotta think it would have been 3:45 in the morning. And I would have not been sober at all during this.
I like how you keep talking about the unreliability of your notes and being like, hey, let me leave my notes.
Well, I'm saying I literally have 3 more notes left in like 8 minutes.
You have
of film.
3 more notes? I have more than a page left.
Oh, you're gonna carry the film or carry the review. Don't worry about that.
Carry, he says. All right, sure, whatever.
Like my back hadn't been breaking this whole time.
What's going on? What do you got?
So basically, we've got the scene where they're fighting the liquor.
Mm-hmm.
She jams the pole through the grate of the liquor's tongue to hold it in place.
Yeah.
Fucking Matt gets ready to shoot it, but then that's when Michelle Rodriguez turns. And we've got the liquor on one side and Michelle Rodriguez on the other. She bites Matt, doesn't she?
No. So, Matt turns around because Alice starts screaming, open the door. Talking about the door on the floor of the train car.
Yeah.
And he goes to go open the door because I think Kaplan got fucked at some point. Actually, I'll be honest with you.
I think, didn't the liquor just rip Kaplan from the train?
Yeah. Like Kaplan just got fucked at some point. I'll be honest with you. I hardly remembered it. Like, I didn't even make a note of it. Kaplan just didn't do much for me. But, yeah. So, the thing I have a problem with is the fact that literally when Matt turns around to go open the door, there's Rain, or Michelle Rodriguez, and before the zombie attacks him, the zombie cracks its neck.
Yeah, it's the buck up mode.
Oh, it does one of these where it's like, all right, let's fight. All right, let's go. And I'm like, I guess you could attribute that to the memory, like the partial memory.
Yeah,
I has, but like
that didn't even have a beep on my radar. So that's a thing that just bothered you.
That's so stupid, though. Like, well, I'll be honest, the thing that really bothered me, it had a sound effect. They actually, the editor had to go in and add a sound effect.
Oh, did they? I didn't even notice it.
They had to add a sound effect for the crack. Like, if you could play the neck crack here, that'd be great. I'd love that.
This is a over 2-hour podcast style video. This might not come out for a couple weeks because this is going to take some work to put out. But yeah, I'll throw the neck crack sound effect to make you happy.
So then after that, they open the door because he kills Michelle Rodriguez. He
shoots her into the button that opens the floor to kill the liquor.
And then the liquor within like 5 seconds just
catches on fire.
Combusts.
Yeah.
I didn't know why that happened. It didn't make any sense, but okay. The liquor combusts, and then the tongue breaks, and then it burns, and they get to the end of the train. Then they run up.
They literally walk under the door as it's closing.
The timer finishes at exactly 12:47 left in the film.
So you're saying the timer was inaccurate?
No. I'm just saying, like, for context, the timer in the door that I've been referencing twice so far in this film ended with 12 minutes and 47 seconds left in the film.
Now, let me ask you a question, because the movie wraps up fairly quickly after this, at least for me.
I got a full page left.
Yeah. Does your time include credits?
Yeah, it's where Netflix thinks the rest of the film is. Did you not record the credits on this?
No, I did. I just wanted to make sure that we have a similar time frame.
So, that's when we have the scene in the mansion where Matt keeps trying to, like, make an inspiring speech, but his wound keeps acting a little weird. Mm-hmm. And that's when all the guys in white clean suits come out.
Just like it's such a weird fucking scene where, like, it goes, like, weird slow-mo kind of shit.
Well, the thing that I find interesting about the scene is the fact that, like, you have to think, they sent the sanitation, I say that with very heavy air quotations.
Where did these guys come from?
They sent the sanitation crew in. Mind you, that was 2.5 hours ago. So they must have been literally, like, the first guys they get a hold of, or the first guys that get on the scene. And they're like, okay, let's get, like, a full response ready.
I don't know if you remember this scene. So I'm literally watching it now as we're talking. You're right. His wound starts to act weird. Alice is like I got to give him the antivirus now.
Yeah, and she doesn't quite get to him.
She gets ready to inject it. And I don't know if you remember this. The men in white open the door, and it's like this weird, just like,
'Cause, like, you know,
camera shot. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And it's like, oh, shit. And then it cuts back to Alice. And assault of light coming out from behind them.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest fucking thing.
Because there's only 2 entrances to the hive. So I think within the 2.5 hours the team was down there, they secured both entrances. Jesus
Because
Christ.
we actually never saw anyone have contact with, we'll call it HQ or whatever. Like
HQ?
The team got sent in. They don't ever relay any information back, or we don't ever see them do it.
Well, that wasn't their goal. Their goal was to go down there and disable Red Queen.
Yeah, so I guess it would make sense. But another problem I had here with this fucking sequence, Alice doesn't really do a whole lot of shit.
Yeah, so...
She's kind of stands... Like, she's elbowing motherfuckers, but, like, we just saw her fucking roundhouse kick a dog to death and kill a whole fucking pack.
There was a fight briefly, and this is one of the problems I have with her, like, martial arts skills, and I say that once again with very large quotations, is the fact that, like, it's just this very weird expectation because, like, yeah, she's able to handle herself against zombies and zombie dogs and even a licker at one point, but she can't handle like 5 dudes in clean suits, like
with gas masks, dude. Have you ever worn a gas mask?
And you gotta think, like, these guys aren't trained. No. Like, this isn't a military unit at all. These are just like scientists or whatever.
They like slow-mo walk in, take him away. And like I was about to say, have you ever worn a gas mask?
I have.
It is one of the most difficult things to breathe in, much less like fight off this special forces bitch.
See, I'd make the argument. It's not just the breathing. It's like it feels like it.
It's claustrophobic in a way.
Yeah, like it captures your attention in a weird way, right? You like if you're wearing a mask or a gas mask, you're always thinking about it. Like, you're never like you know, like at ease or like free to think about other things.
No, I agree with that.
But yeah, so we have them get Matt, they get Alice, and then they put Matt on a stretcher, and we see like shit
starts to come out. Yeah.
And the guy says, "I want him in the
Nemesis project."
Program.
That's one of my last notes. Nemesis ?
Program, not project. Just point that out.
And we alluded to it earlier with Matt, Nemesis Project, in the next movie. I don't know how much you remember about the next movie.
Dude, I love...
Nemesis is Matt.
Yes, I love, what is it, Epps? What's his
Mike
name?
Epps, the guy with the 2 Desert Eagles? Yeah.
Bro. Like
Mike Epps, I remember...
the redeeming feature of that film, in my opinion. Now, mind you, going back as an adult and rewatching it, I might not feel the same way.
I agree.
I don't want to voice too much of a strong opinion.
We still have 5 minutes left in this.
Yeah. But yeah, so we find out that Matt's being introduced to the Nemesis program. Alice is restrained. We hear a doctor say, "We're reopening the hive."
Okay.
And that's when shit gets a little blurry.
So Matt is getting fucking whisked around the corner in the stretcher. Alice is fighting off these like 5 guys, and then it's just she gets sedated somehow.
Yeah, and then we have, you know, hey, reopening the hive that happens kind of vaguely in the background locally, and then she wakes up in
a hospital room.
And this is one of the things where, like, I think this was kind of understated in the film. This film does have a certain level of body horror. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near like fucking
like Saw or whatever.
Yeah, it's no Saw. It's definitely not like
Hostel.
I was thinking of what's the 80s film that you and I have been watching with the Cenobites?
Oh, Hellraiser.
It's not like Hellraiser or anything, right? But like, there's definitely some body horror themes here, and her pulling out all the shit that's been fucking...
Something you may not have noticed, and maybe I'm erroneous in noticing it now as I have the movie playing in the background. She wakes up, and the body horror you're alluding to is her ripping these needles and shit out of her skin.
Yeah.
Did you notice her hair was longer?
Not all longer. So some of her hair was longer in the back, but they had shaved her sides at some point
for the
needles.
Yeah. Yeah. So the point I wanted to make with her hair getting longer, we don't know how long she's been, we'll say, in custody.
And that's the insinuation. And I'll be honest with you. So the film should have ended before this point, in my opinion. I'll be honest with you. I think this ending is garbage.
Yeah, where like she rips the shit out of her head.
It's garbage. So
walks outside.
So then she uses one of the needles that she ripped out of herself to break through the swipe pad.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if you saw this in your version, because I don't know what your version and my version have in common.
Like I said, we have 3 minutes left in the film.
Sure, but like she fucking breaks the swipe pad with a fucking needle and gets out of the hospital room, and then she goes outside and she discovers the world's fucked.
It's just like nuclear apocalypse. Looks like a fucking nuke went off.
And then we see the newspaper headline where it says "The Dead Walk."
Yeah.
So somehow they've had enough time to realize what's happening to print a local Raccoon City headline.
Yeah.
About how the dead walk. That doesn't make a lot of sense. It didn't make a lot of sense in the games.
So the way it happens in the game, and real quick, remember when she's standing in front of that two-way mirror, you see a person.
You don't see a person.
No. You literally see an outline of a humanoid person walk in front of the screen. Whether it's a zombie or a live person.
I might have missed that.
Well, dude, here, fuck it. You know what? We're 2:10. No, don't do that. We're 2:10 in. Like what? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like whether or not that's a zombie or not isn't stated.
I was so busy writing notes I even noticed that. No, mind you, I don't know what the illusion is there for later, but you're right. It could be a zombie or it could be a person. But yeah, so God damn, this fucking music, man. This music is playing the whole fucking film.
Dude, bro. My last note. 2000s as fuck.
No, we're not there yet. One second. So, the music is playing out throughout the whole film. Every time, like, a flashback's been happening, or, like, the beginning of the film or the end of the film here, it sounds like Saw music. Like, tell me if I'm crazy. That's fine. But, like, it sounds like Saw music. I'll be honest with you. You and I are going to go on YouTube after this and listen to this music. And I'm going to compare it to Saw music, and you're going to see either if I'm right or wrong.
I haven't seen Saw 1 in so long. Like, Saw 1 makes me uncomfortable.
But yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like, this to me, in my opinion, is a film that didn't plan for a sequel. Like, it didn't think it'd go get anything after this.
Well, my final note. I don't know how much you have left, if anything.
I've only got a couple points left, so...
So we see her stumble out of the hospital. We get out to the street where she gets into a cop car that is just parked on the side of the road. Or not parked. Well, crashed, it looks like. And takes the shotgun out. The final scene is racks the shotgun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, mind you, like...
And then, like, 2000s as fuck music plays in credits.
There's desolation all around.
Yes.
Like, a lot of crashed cars. The newspaper literally says the dead walk again. Like,
so the point I was making earlier...
she's very aware of what's going on in the outside world. And we know the reason why the spread was theoretically because Umbrella reopened the hive. Like they said a couple minutes earlier before this. So we understand
because they wouldn't have had the information from the crew because the crew died.
was a bitch they knocked unconscious and the guy they knew was infected.
Yeah,
like somehow a containment breach happened. But
so that's the film.
I'll be honest with you. There's two things I want to make a note here.
Here's where I'm at. Hold on. Is your notes about things that happen in the film or a wrap up review?
Things happen in the film.
Okay, let's make those points. We're gonna take another pause. I'm gonna go pour another one of those Hennessy drinks, and then we'll come back for the final wrap.
Oh, you're gonna pour a Red Queen.
Red Queen Bramble.
You're goddamn right. But yeah, no, so the final notes I have for this film was that very obviously they didn't plan for a sequel. Like, this is a video game film. I don't think they were expecting anything to come of this, and that's why they literally went hard in the paint. Like, hey, fuck it. We're gonna have this film end not with like a, oh, did the virus get out or didn't it? Which was very popular during this time period. Like the 90s and 2000s was all about like, oh, did it happen? Didn't it? And they decided, like, fuck that.
Yeah.
It did happen. Here's where we're at. Raccoon City's fucked. Alice is on the streets. The end. And I think that's where I thought the series was going to end, and it very much did not end.
I don't know enough about the production to know if that's correct or not. But
I'm making an assumption.
If that's how it comes off,
I'm making an assumption here based off of my experience with the film. Mind you, there's one other thing I can tell you about the film before we have our final wrap up, and that is the credit songs were all garbage. Every one of them.
That's why I said 2000s as fuck.
Every dude, the whole credits,
like weird grunge metal type shit.
Well, usually, like, you'll have, like, a credit song, and then it will transfer into the soundtrack to give some credit to whoever wrote the soundtrack for the film.
Yeah.
It never does that. It's literally 2000 song, 2000 song, 2000 song. Hey, wait, a fourth 2000 song. And they're all stupid and bad.
All right, well, we're gonna go pour another drink.
Well,
oh, wait, I'm sorry, you got one more?
oh, did you want to do final impressions, or you wanted to just...
I was gonna do final impressions after we have the drink.
Oh, that's fair,
Okay.
Okay, let's
All right, we'll be back.
Fuck you.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
And we're back.
We are back from the dismal depths of having to use the restroom make further drinks.
Red Queen Brambles.
Yeah.
I altered the recipe a little bit, but I think it makes it for the better.
Oh, I got a little strawberry in that one. That's nice.
I put a whole piece in there this time, a little flair. Oh, these actually fit perfectly in the...
Yeah, that's what I've been using the whole time.
Oh, fair enough. So
Nathan,
final thoughts.
we have the shotgun rack. Alice standing in the middle of the Banner Street.
I hated that ending scene.
It's awful. I'll be honest with you, I stand by what I said before, or maybe even alluded to before, that I don't think that they ever planned for a sequel. So they thought, hey, fuck it, we'll go balls to the wall. Like, fuck it, we'll do the most extreme, and make some references at the end of it, essentially.
So I have my issues as a Resident Evil video game fan with the second movie that we'll address when we get there, obviously. But on its own, how do you feel this movie told its story? Was it effective? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I think Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2002, the version we watched, I think is good. I think it's very good. I think it does a great job with the opening scene of setting
I agree.
expectations for later in the film, and then does a great job of trickling in information as it becomes apparent, and also trickling in other pieces as well. Like, one of the things I thought was really interesting is that very early in the film they talk about how Umbrella is a leader in medicine and healthcare, but for some reason also technology. Like, that makes no sense. But then you realize later on they have the AI system. So they have to be a leader in technology in order to have a fucking AI system back in 2002.
Sure.
Obviously. So there's definitely some things I have problems with, logically speaking. And even some things I have problems when it comes to the narrative and the characters overall. But I'll be honest with you. Overall, I was hooked. I started watching the film and I was interested to see where it went, even knowing some of the twists of the film.
Yeah.
I think if I were to give this a individual rating, a out of 5,
A 1 out of 5, no half points.
yes, a standalone rating, I think I'd give this a 3 out of 5. I think this is a well done film that achieves its point competently, and I have no complaints about it. Like, it's not perfect by any means. Like, there's definitely things that could have done better. But I think they use enough. I think they use enough of their budget here. They use enough of their effort, and they use enough of their talent here to make a film that is very strangely competent. This is one of the better video game films, in my opinion. Do you have anything that you want to put in?
Yeah, I was letting you get your point across
Yeah,
before I put mine in.
Hey, feel free.
So, my issue with this film when I was a kid when I saw it was, by the time I saw it, I was a huge fan of the original game. The first Resident Evil game I ever beat was the GameCube remake, and I was hooked from then on. Then I saw this film, and I hated it. And the reason I hated it as a edgy 14-year-old was, that's not what this video game's like at all. This is one of my favorite video games of all time. Like, why are they telling this bullshit story? And as I get older, watch more movies, play more video games, have a YouTube channel, I really appreciate them trying to tell their own story within a basic framework that the video game lays out. Like, it literally takes, like, hey, there's Umbrella, there's a virus, there's zombies.
The mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go. Tell your own story within that framework.
I would say they definitely take certain themes. I even brought up the dress earlier. Yeah. The red dress. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not a direct theme, but...
It's a nod to Ada.
Not just a nod to Ada, because, I think Resident Evil 4 came out after...
Ada was in 2.
She wasn't 2. I did forget about that. But anyway,
Ada was actually referenced in 1. If you remember that in the final part of the game, you have that puzzle where you John Ada for the computer sequence, where like I think the username was John, the password was Ada or something like that. So Ada, if you want to get fancy with it, was technically referenced from the very beginning.
But I'll be honest with you, the idea of people surviving horrific ordeals in like plain clothes is definitely a trend for Resident Evil games. Not all of them and not always, but I do think that at least is a loose reference, and there's a lot of much obvious references in the game as well, or in the movie as well. You know, you have the mansion, you have the hive under Raccoon City. You know, there's a lot of things that really point to this drawing inspiration and sometimes ideas from the games, but not relying on them and not being wholeheartedly tied to those.
So issues to piggyback onto my younger criticism of this film.
Sure.
How off the wall not Resident Evil that movie was at the time. 2, a little teaser for when we do that.
The game?
The movie, Apocalypse. When
when
we get to 2...
Okay.
Wait, or maybe Apocalypse is the third one.
No,
Doesn't matter.
Apocalypse is the second one.
Okay, the second movie, there was a lot of criticism around the time of the first movie not being enough Resident Evil. The second movie overcorrects the fuck out of that. Where they literally just throw in, like I said, teaser, a little bit of a spoiler. I don't want to get too deep into the second movie, but it overcorrects to a point where like it's just bad.
See, I wouldn't even call it overcorrection, and mind you, much the same. I haven't seen Apocalypse in fucking over 10 years, but
yeah.
I do remember. Well, the game goes from like video game nods in the first game or in the first movie to
beating you over the head with. Do you know this reference?
Direct video game references in
Yeah.
the second film. I do remember that
Yeah.
very distinctly. So this is one of the reasons why I would disagree with your younger self. But I'm curious where you'll come around to it.
Well, like I said, I found myself really having a good time by the end of this movie. Now, alcohol probably aided in that, but
I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this film. I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons why I think I really enjoyed this film was the intro sequence. The intro sequence, I think, really sets this film up very appropriately and really helps you get through the whole film because it lays out so much of the obstacles and the problems you're gonna have in this film. It's fucking baffling to me that they did that. Like it's fucking, it's almost like a Guy Ritchie film. But I'm sorry. Go back to your review.
You're good. Basically, I said everything I have to. I don't want to be too long-winded on a 2.5 hour video.
I'm curious. You are the fan of the 5 scale. I obey it by your whim.
I agree with you 100% at 3.
3 out of 5.
There's two. If this movie would have been made maybe 5 years earlier, or 5 years, or 5 years later, I think being early 2000s held it back in some of the choices they made with like the music choices, them trying to be a little edgy, them like some of the snark that they had in some of the characters.
The contemporary music, I would agree.
I think the aughts got in the way of this film.
You see, I disagree. I think this is a film that happened to get either a director or a producer, I don't know which one it was, that actually, even if they didn't know the source material, gave a shit that there was source material. Because you have to think, like, if you want to talk about things that happened before this, when it comes to video game movies, like fucking
Tomb Raider would have been before it.
I'm thinking worst case scenario. I'm thinking Mario Brothers. I'm thinking Mortal Kombat. I'm thinking
Mortal Kombat 1. We can talk about that later. I don't want to get too off in the weeds here. We're wrapping up, but
the point I'm making is that like if you're trying to make a movie, you need to make a movie. And even if it's a movie that is referencing or based off of video games, you still have to make a movie. And this film made a movie. And not every fucking film that is based off a video game can say that. Or even every show that's based off a video game, to be more broad if I want to. Not every medium that's based off a video game can say that they made something that works in their own medium.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this film does. And I'm not saying it's great, but It's not
good.
bad. It's
Yeah.
not bad at all. Like I watched this film and I enjoyed it. I had a good time. And I'm not saying that I'll be honest with you, there's some things they could have done to really invest me more, but I wouldn't ask that of anybody. Like, I'll be honest with you, the films that usually bring me to a 4 or a 5 out of 5 on your rating
My 5-star scale.
right, with no halves, or the films that usually impact me in a deep way. And Resident Evil didn't impact me in a deep way, but I do remember a surprising
More
number
than you
of
thought,
quotes. Yeah, there's a surprising number of quotes I remember from this film that have stuck with me my entire life. And I'll be honest with you, I was almost tempted to give it a higher rating based off of that, but then I was
I'll put it this way.
self-aware enough to realize that was just me having been young when I first watched it, and now watching it years later, like, that was just the pure nostalgia. Like,
Yeah, I'll put it this way. I'd give it a 3 out of 5 and a 5-star.
Yeah.
If I was pushed to do a 10 with no halves, I would give it a 6.
Yeah.
Like, I would edge a little closer to that 3.5, but it's
to be fair, 6 out of 10 and 3 out of 5 are the same
roughly
thing.
about the same. Yeah.
Well, they're the exact same. That's how fractions work.
5 out of 5. We'll talk off mic, but
No, we're going to talk right now because I think you don't know how fractions work real quick. 3 out of 5.
I equate a 3 out of 5. I don't know. I just fucking hate the out of 10 scale, so I just don't think about it.
It's fair, but like 3 out of 5, you double both numbers, you get 6 out of 10. That's the exact equivalent.
Fucking nerd. All right, do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to add?
Nathan, I'll be honest with you. I don't think a lot of people are going to watch this or listen.
Oh
to this.
no! At 2.5 hours in, no, we lost everybody.
It's probably more like 2. It's probably closer to 2.
2 hours, 35 minutes, 40 seconds.
I'll be honest with you though. I think if we're going to do this, I want to do every Resident Evil film at this point.
No, dude, I started this assuming that was going to be the course of action.
And
because you and I have been talking about this for years. Now we have a reason to do it.
I have a strange and, I'll be honest with you, somewhat foreboding inkling that this will be the cream of the crop.
Yes, I think you're right.
That this will be the high point. So when I give it a 3 out of 5, I am considering that inevitability.
So I've seen the first movie not in theaters, the second movie not in theaters. I saw the third movie in theaters.
It's so funny you say that. I had the exact same experience. I didn't realize you had that experience. Yeah, I watched Resident Evil on TV, I think.
Really?
I watched Resident Evil Apocalypse because someone gave me the DVD while they were getting high at my house. And then I watched Resident Evil... So it's Apocalypse and then Extinction, I think, is the third one.
That sounds right.
Extinction.
Where it's like Mad Max, weirdly enough.
Yeah, you and I were talking about it. It's Extinction. That one's the one that's set.
That's the one with fucking Ali Larder in it, and the fucking guy from The Mummy.
Don't even look it up. Don't even get too far into it. The point I'm making is the fact that Resident Evil Extinction, the same way you did, I saw in theaters.
Which I think added to my enjoyment of it.
And I remember being like, why are they continuing to lead into the skid that is Alice? Jesus fuck. But anyway.
Alright.
We can get into that when we get into that.
We are at 2 hours 37 minutes before I make our cuts for our bathroom
So
breaks.
this is the best Resident Evil
I think it's
that we've seen
so far. Yes.
So far.
We will rank all 6 of them as we watch them.
And you and I both agree, actually, for once. It's a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
So,
weirdly enough, I think you like it more than I do.
I think I do enjoy it just a hair more than you do.
With me being more of a video game fan, you having played a little bit of all of them.
The movie was vastly different because you gotta think the first Resident Evil I ever played was Resident Evil 3 on the PS1, but I had a PS2 and couldn't save. So I played it every once in a blue moon, but didn't really do a whole lot with it. And then I saw the movie, and then later on, Resident Evil 4 came out, which has that famous lasers hallway scene we're talking about.
Later at the end of the game, but yeah.
But it's totally lifted from the movie.
Straight up.
So that's why it came afterwards. But yeah, no, I
Wait, when did Resident Evil 4 would have been 2004?
Yeah,
because I got that day one. If this was
2002.
2002,
Yes,
it would have been like straight up like, oh, that's a cool scene.
Yes.
Let's put this in our game.
that's 100% what happened.
I didn't realize how close they were. Holy
Yes,
shit.
they were very close. Yeah, they still had a cool scene.
That's awesome.
Let's see, for Apocalypse got greenlit really weirdly fastly, if I remember correctly. Oh, we'll look it up for the actual Apocalypse review, but
Yes.
Apocalypse got greenlit and brought out within like 2 to 3 years, if I remember correctly.
I think
like they were like, oh wait, this video game movie is the one video game movie that actually did well. All right, you're good to go. And they're like, oh shit, we actually wrote the Apocalypse at the end of our film. Fuck. Like, where do we go from here?
4 movies later, we wrap it up. All right, I think it's 2 hours 40. I think it's time to call it quits here because one, we need to order food and we got to go watch Casino Royale.
Fuck you.